Welcome, adventurers and armchair GMs, to the Doctors of Doom podcast. This is your magical gateway to fantasy football glory, chaos, and, well, the occasional dumpster fires. Now, joining me on this roller coaster of stats and shenanigans are two very special companions on this quest. First, we have the stalwart stalagmite of consistency, the guy you can always count on. He's a tactician, he drafts smart, he plays hard, but somehow every trade he touches turns into fantasy rubble. It's the man, the myth, the tragic traitor himself. Alex, the Shark Sparks. And then there's the breezy whirlwind of unpredictability, the wild card who shows up most of the time, if at all, tosses logic out the window, Aaron Rodgers, and keeps us all on our toes. He's unpredictable, he's unhinged, and somehow he's always in contention. Please welcome Mitchell. I don't know how to play any of Alex's games, Black. And me, I'm your host for today. I'm Ron Burgundy. Join us in this Twilight episode as Mitch provides the segments, probably messes up his own rhyming games, and Alex takes the easy road for a change. So together we're the Doctors of Doom, diagnosing your rosters, debating your bad decisions, and maybe even helping you win your league. So strap in, sharpen your pencils or swords, because it's time to dive into this week's episode of the Doctors of Doom. Say hello to all the dungeon dwellers out there, my friends.
Yo, what up, dwellers? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the pod, Ron. I appreciate it.
That's some chat GPT stuff.
Yes, it is, actually. Isn't that what you said you used?
Actually, it was. It was very much Chat GPT. But the best part is I had
Wait,
to
did you say that
explain,
first? Oh,
I had to explain who the two people were, and it nailed you guys both on the end. So AI is doing well. The
even
I'm
AI
on
knows
Burgundy
I'm
was
always
just
paying
a
attention.
callback to one of our most favorite quotable movies, but also the fact that, like, why would I be the host for today? But it is a Twilight episode because we decided to shake things up a little bit.
Twilight Zone, just for clarity, not Twilight. Twilight just means it's in the evening, but Twilight Zone episode. But yeah, we're gonna change it up. I got, for those who listened to the pod last week, I got a little sick of Mitch always trying to ruin my segment, so I told him he had to come up with a segment. And you know what he did? He told us you'll just have to make it up on the fly because he has a segment. He just wouldn't tell us what it is. So you guys are gonna hear it for the first time when we do, I guess, as we try to answer whatever question he has for us. But first, let's get to some NFL news. And man, this is a rough week for NFL fans, not just fantasy, but just players in general. The amount of injuries is just insane. So Lamar Jackson out multiple weeks. That's not even one of the bad ones. You got Malik Neighbors. He's done for the year. Torn ACL. Tyreek Hill. He may be done for the career. He tore pretty much every ligament in his knee. So we'll see where that goes. Trey Benson is out 4 to 6 weeks after taking over in the Cardinals. So Amari DiMercado is now very valuable for those who are looking for running backs. Niners have ruled out Purdy, Parsons, and Jennings for Thursday Night Football, so they're going to have stone cold nothing going into that game. So just injuries abound everywhere, fellas. What are your thoughts on what happened this past week?
Oh,
Sorry, I got very confused there. Mitch was screen sharing, and I was like, I thought it was you, Alex, and so I was like, what is happening in the background here?
yeah. I wanted to
So
double check last couple of things, but Alex won't share his own screen. I don't
Oh,
know
sorry.
how
I was
else
like,
share.
Let me share a screen. My bad. My bad. I forgot that Mitch
I
I
was
was.
just
had
like,
I was looking at my notes during that, and I was looking at. I was like, oh wait, I gotta double fact check one of the things real quick.
Well, right now Mitch is sharing, so I need him to stop sharing so that I can share. There we go.
no, you're good, you're good. I was just cracking up because I was like, Alex usually doesn't do this in the middle of the podcast, and then when I saw that it was, what the Google search was, I was like, oh, this is for sure Mitch's screen.
I was double checking the year real quick, and that maybe gave away a couple other answers, but you know,
No, but no, dude, I think that this has been one of the hardest years in fantasy in recent memory, just based on injuries. Like, there's always a couple big injuries, but there's been a lot of big injuries. I mean, yeah, Alex, that doesn't even include the fact that the Niners already ruled out Purdy and Pearsall again for this week. Um,
And Juwan
and then
Jennings.
Jaden Daniels has been out. Terry McLaurin has been out. Like, it has just been absolute chaos in the fantasy world. Um, and it actually, what hurts the most is, like, leagues that I'm most healthy in are the leagues that I'm doing the worst in. So I'm like, I just drafted terrible top to bottom, apparently.
For me, yeah, the Bengals offense is making me struggle. I've always been a fan. I mean, I've always kind of with the injuries and stuff like that, but for me, it has to be just I always kind of pick certain offenses to invest in, and if that's like putting all your eggs in one basket, and a lot of my leagues have a lot of Bengals players, so I think there was a stat on one of the podcasts I was listening to that was like in the last 10 years, the Bengals have 3 games that where they had less than 200 yards total offense. And then they have 3 of their first 4 games this year are under 200 yards of offense. So it's brutal out here for anyone who has any players on them. And yeah, the QB injuries has also been interesting, but I think the QB injuries makes the league a little bit more fun.
I mean, I disagree that injuries make the league more. I don't know. I think it really hurts football, right? Like the games are less interesting to watch. Like Bengals games were so fun to watch last year. Like yeah, they might win, they might lose, but they were going to be a shootout. Whereas now it's like Bengals games just blow, man. I want no part of that.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about injuries is primetime football games, right? Like you cannot sit here and tell me that anybody was excited to watch the Bengals and the Broncos play on Monday night. Like that is just not fun. Like, and then you've got the Jets playing the Dolphins already. It's like why that's kind of a wild primetime game. But then all of a sudden you get injuries, and it's like nobody really wants to watch Mac Jones square off against anybody, or Marcus Mariota, or whoever ends up being the backup, down the line for other teams. It's nobody really wants that. Like Jake Browning throwing for 100 yards and 8 interceptions. Like I feel like primetime football gets hurt the most by it when there's only one game on and you're just stuck watching backups play each other.
Yeah. I just think I just really hate it. Like we've had so many major like potential career-ending injuries, like Najee Harris, James Conner, Tyreek Hill. Like those are 3 guys that may or may not come back, right? And then you have
Hmm.
other super long-term injuries like Joe Burrow, Malik Neighbors. Like these are guys who, for sure, aren't coming back this year, and who knows if they'll be ready for the start of next season. That's just really,
Yeah,
that just sucks.
yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the career-ending ones, like I really felt for Najee because it's like you're on a 1-year deal and you tear your Achilles, and no running back has torn their Achilles and made it back and been like relevant again.
Yeah.
Like they might play a little bit, but not like relevant football. But
Oh,
the neighbors
and
one
Austin
kind of
Eckler.
stink. That,
Sorry, I forgot to mention him because he also tore his Achilles
oh
early in
yeah,
the year. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's for sure done.
Yeah.
He was slower than molasses before the Achilles injury. Um, but I think the neighbors one is interesting too because you just hate to like on somebody who's like so explosive and so good at football. And I know that, ACL recoveries are a thing of the past for the most part now, but like historically people don't always come back 100% and your re-tear rate is super high. And when you're a guy like him, like I know you can come back, but he was on superstar path, like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, like if not, he was already kind of there. And now it's like, ooh, like now is he just a top 10 guy? Is he a top 12 guy? Does he get to that top 5 range again? I don't know. It's that to me is the sad part. Is like, did we just get robbed of another elite wide receiver?
Yeah. In other news, it's not injury related. Quarterback news: Flacco has found his way to the bench. He has quite frankly played awful. The Browns' defense has just been absolutely top tier, and they still can't win a game because Flacco is so bad. So they have turned to Dylan Gabriel. So Shador Sanders has now moved into the backup role. The irony that there was that report that Neon Dion blocked the Ravens from drafting him as the backup to Lamar. He would be starting the next couple of weeks had that not happened. Instead, he is now moved up and still on the bench. So interesting development there. But yeah, we'll see Dylan Gabriel. Anyone think there's any value in him off waivers, boys? Picking up Dylan Gabriel, starting him.
Two thoughts. One, The really quick, the Tyreek Hill one is my most interesting one because it's just they were going to trade him probably this season and get some value, and now he's like zero value for anyone, for the Dolphins or for any team looking for him. That one is not going to end well because he's just going to be dramatic while stuck on the Dolphins for a while, and no one's going to trade from him. He's going to be drama for a year at least. Um, and then. Wait, what was sorry, what was the other question you just asked, Alex?
Was there any
Dylan
fantasy value
Gabriel
in
as
Dylan
fantasy
Gabriel?
Oh
value.
yeah,
That was more
yeah.
of a
Before
joke.
the season, yeah. And before this, that reminded me that before the season started, you guys kind of seemed a little high on. Let's give Chat GPT some props here. I'm going to bring up Aaron Rodgers, but you guys were high on Flacco and we're fine with Flacco starting, and it was like, oh, that's going to be great for fantasy players out there. It's kind of been flipped. Rodgers has fantasy relevant players, and Flacco's right in the bench. But as far as it goes, no, I think whoever Dylan Gabriel or Shadur Sanders. Um, Personally tunnel vision towards, that player is going to have a massive boost, but everyone else is going to suffer. If he can actually do well, then Judkins will be fine, but it's just going to be whatever. I mean, either Njoku or Judy or Tillman. One of those guys is going to get tunnel vision by the rookie and be relevant. Everyone else is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think that it's
Tillman's
going to
on
be.
IR,
I
right? So it won't
mean,
be
you can't.
Tillman.
Oh, wait, Tillman's actually on. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Did he get.
you
Oh,
can't. You
wow.
can't be worse than Flacco's been, right? So, it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out.
Did we see much of Dylan Gabriel in preseason, or we just saw Shador most of the time?
No, I mean Gabriel's been the
He
backup the whole way
Dylan played
through.
most.
So
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to drop Judy in some leagues, but because of the QB change, I'm going to hold him for one more week, just to see if, like I said, any of these QBs favor one wide receiver or the other, and that kind of goes for the same situation with the Giants is who's Dart gonna like? Because that offense seems to script pretty well for certain receivers. Who's now considered that one target, and can Darton move the chains well enough to keep feeding it to him? That's why the injury of the neighbors is even more depressing, is because he could have probably been fine with Dart. I mean, it's Russell Wilson that he was. I mean, he could probably been better with Dart. So I don't know if there's a huge how much there's a bump to Slayton and Wandale, or even the other guy I forget. So it's going to be interesting with all the QB changes. It's who do they like?
yeah, I really don't know because Dart did a lot more with his legs than with his arm in his first week as starter. So and their upcoming schedule is not friendly. So we'll see. This week's not too bad. I think this week is the Saints, but then after that, I think they play like 3 or 4 games against good defenses in a row.
Yeah, going into the game, if I told you Dart was starting against the Chargers, none of us were excited about that.
I took the Chargers in the survivor pool, so that was fun for me because
Oh
surely they'll
no.
beat the New York Giants, who haven't won a game and are starting a rookie quarterback. They're gonna win that game, right, guys? Nope.
So I got I got a little lucky in the survivor pool. I've been picking the team that's playing the Browns every week because I know you guys like Flacco, but I was just so against it. In the podcast where Vinny was like, "What offenses do you want no part of?" I said the Browns and was it Browns and Saints, and that's because even with Flacco, but I thought one of the other two guys were starting. Anyways, off topic. Uh, I just I think yeah, I don't know. I think in the survivor pool, I've been picking anyone who goes against the Browns, and I got lucky. The week that the Packers played the Browns, I picked the Bills against I think the Saints or whatever. So I've picked against the Browns 3 out of 4 weeks in the survivor pool and been correct. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Against
Yeah,
them?
yeah. The week you didn't
Yeah.
pick against them must be real nice.
Yeah, the
Must
week
be
I
real
didn't pick
nice.
against them, I got suckered and baited by a Bills Saints game or whatever, so I flipped to that one. But I'm going to continue to pick against the Browns
I feel
for
like the
most of the
Titans are
season.
also an easy one to pick against. Titans and Saints, you know?
I wasn't sure though. It's very risky the first couple weeks to pick against a rookie QB who's drafted one overall. So yeah, but yeah, going forward for sure, you're right.
I mean, you can really go out on a limb if you need to pick every team. I mean, you might as well take the Giants at the Saints this week.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go
I don't
around the
know about
league so we
that.
can
I
look
haven't
at
looked this week, but that's risky.
let,
What's sorry,
let,
Alex?
I was just gonna say we can go around the league and see how things broke down last week in DoD here. So we'll start with a feature matchup where Fantasy D prevailed. Even though I lost neighbors to IR, I was able to easily put away Mitch and his hapless Avengers because they can't do anything. So yeah, not much of a match here, you know. But yeah, I did get the win, so I guess I'll take the dub. But yeah, my team's looking bad now. I've traded away wide receiver depth for CeeDee Lamb, who's still not going to be playing for a while, and now I've lost neighbors for the year. Mitch had to start Higgins and Waddle, which, you know, our wide receivers combined for 12 points, the four of them. So, yeah, not looking great for us, Mitch in the wide receiver department. Moving on to teams that actually play fantasy football correctly. Aussies and Flying Penguins. The Penguins looking solid this season. This happened last year too, right? They came out of the gate blazing and fell apart. This is what I said to Break in his interview. You draft decently well, but you don't play waivers, and that as a result your team falls apart. So we'll see if his team can keep it together. So far, so good. Both these teams looked solid.
I mean,
but,
speaking of not playing waivers, just look at that bench. Like, there's no way that his bench should still have any of those players.
yeah, Isaac Garindo shouldn't have been drafted, much less still be on a team. Samson is now fourth string on his team, something like that. Keishon Boutte had one good week, and since then he's averaging one catch a game. Worthy I would have kept. I understand keeping Worthy, and like he looks like he's good now that he's back to playing. So this is actually a solid bench player. But yeah, and you could justify Herbert. But yeah. He obviously hasn't made a waiver move, and he's still starting double Rams wide receivers. I'm really interested to see what happens when the Rams have a bye. We'll see what happens at that point. But for now, he's got the dub. Moving on. Sparkplug's unlucky. Drop 101, but Yakov Lamb popped off. As you can see, he lost till the IR. He also, Bucky Irving also injured. Didn't mention that during the injury report because we're not sure yet whether or not he's going to play. But that is worth noting. If you're in a league where you need running back help and Rachaad White is available, you might want to pick him up this week. But yeah, Yakov Lamb rolling, even though Derrick Henry is not. Derrick Henry and Barkley both not rolling this season. I mean, Barkley had the points because of the TD, but do you guys want to know what Justin Fields is averaging 50 yards rushing per game? You know who else is averaging 50 yards rushing per game? Saquon Barkley.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? The guy who had 2,000 yards rushing last year. I mean, we knew there was going to be a drop-off, but that's a big drop-off, guys.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and click on Henry's game log. Henry has been, I mean, I know Saquon's been low, but Henry popped off on that
you meant game.
first week. And it has been really bad since then. But you do not draft Henry to go 295. That is for sure.
You don't.
And then
but
just
if you
the
look
carries are so low.
Well, that's the problem with the
8.
carries, right? Like, because if you look at the game log, like this is fine. This is over 4 yards a carry, right? Like this is over 5 yards a carry. The yards per carry is there. He's just not getting the touches, right? Other than the Cleveland, look, the Cleveland game was bad. I admit that. This was a bad game. But games 3 and 4, he's just not getting the touches, and it could be because he had costly fumbles in 3 straight games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's definitely scary. I mean, I have Henry in a.
How do you think he's gonna? How do you think he's gonna play the next couple weeks? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, it's just his usage is the scariest part to me.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Mitch, his usage will go up the next couple of weeks with Lamar being out, but you're also gonna have teams that, because Lamar is out, get to stack the box, and the Rams are already the best against the run. So, like, we're talking about a game where he plays against the team who is number 1 against the run, who is stacking the box. Like, I know he's good, but that's a rough call. But yeah, I think if you are a Derrick Henry owner, these next 2 weeks are going to kind of be make or break for you. Like, not that you're never going to bench him. I don't mean it that way, but like, if he plays these next 2 weeks where everyone's like coming for him because they know he's going to get the ball, and he does get a bunch of extra carries, but he still pops off anyway, then you're like, okay, Henry's still got it, and now the Ravens are seeing that he's still got it. They'll use him more moving forward. But if the next couple weeks he can't do anything when he's getting 20 carries, or even worse, if he's still only getting 8 to 10 carries, even when they're having to play Cooper Rush instead of Lamar, that's a big red flag. And yeah, we'll look at Saquon since we talked about him as well. If we go to his game log, he is getting the touches but not getting the yards, and I think that's more concerning to me, is that he just doesn't have it. Look at this yards per carry, 3.3, 2.6, 2.3. Like, it's not good.
Not good.
Like yeah, if you're starting him in fantasy, you're fine, right? 14, 13 because he's scored in touchdowns. Like, and as long as he keeps getting touchdowns, you'll be fine. But like, that is concerning if you're a Saquon owner, that he is currently averaging 19 touches a game, but he can't break 50 yards. So we'll
I'll
see.
be interested to see what Barkley does over the next month because a lot of you win a Super Bowl, your offensive player of the year, you win for 2,000 yards, and he doesn't play any preseason. A lot of these guys, especially the running back position, like a Barkley, are using these first 2 to 3 weeks as basically a preseason. And all you, and the thing is, as an avid Barkley fan who's probably watched all his games for the last at least 2 3 years, he does this a lot, but then breaks one. So he just hasn't really broken one in any of these games. These stat lines kind of look similar, but then he has like the one run for 60 or the other one for 40 or the other one, you know what I mean? So he just really the explosive breakaway ability I don't think is there, and I think that's because he's kind of using this as a preseason where you just kind of play for go through the mode, get your body ready, and you don't want to just sprint, go your hardest week one or whatever type of thing. I think that's kind of what's happening.
Speaking of
Their
I'd be
not,
offense as a
interested.
whole has also looked terrible.
Oh, for sure. But they've been last in pass attempts last year, or whatever. So can't go much worse.
speaking of not checking your roster, Cameron's still rostering Austin Eckler, who's been on IR for weeks, and you have to wonder with him rostering Tyreek Hill as a
Yeah.
starter now that he's on IR. Do you guys think he
And
set
I
the
think
lineup this week?
so. That's what I was gonna say. I just keep getting lost in all the. But yeah, Nolan got the unfortunate event of playing Cameron early. If you play Cameron in a week or two, it's probably gonna be a completely different story.
I mean,
Because you'll
dude, check
be
check your line. Like, you obviously need running back help. Well, hey, I just said, Amari DeMarcado is currently on waivers, free agent. He's starting running back. Go get him. Like, come on, Cam. But yeah. Anyway, moving on to
well, he hasn't backed up either of his. Yeah, he
we have
needs to
none.
check
I
his
mean,
team.
I
look,
don't mind.
I,
I
I,
can trade him. I can trade him Trey Benson and just add to his deep running back depth there.
to add to the hour depth. All right, moving on.
Guy who hasn't checked his team, he's gonna check all of a sudden for a trade with Vinny. That's coincidental. That's highly suspicious.
And here we have the serial killers versus dinosaurs. Couple of the low score. I mean, they both would beat Mitch this week. Obviously, that's not a
Oh
high bar,
gosh!
but you know,
Before this week, I was the number one scorer.
I know. Yeah,
It's no
I will
joke.
do you the solid of showing that the week before, Mitch, the week before you scored 104. The week before that, you scored. I think you had a couple good weeks in a row, but I love giving you a hard time. I don't know. You're the high
No,
scorer
no,
two
for
weeks
sure.
ago, but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
hey. All I know is what happened most recently. And most recently, you sucked. All right.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
was reading your text, Alex, and I was like, "Oh, Alex is having a bad week. I'm not gonna check my team." I checked for like 40 minutes during break, like on my phone, and Lamar gets benched. I'm like, "Nope, not doing that again." That's done with that. We're done with that. So I hope what I mean? Jekyll and Hyde, whatever. I'm Barkley. My team's Barkley. Some weeks we just don't care.
Can we just reflect on the CD Lamb trade for a second, where apparently Lad McConkey is worse than even we thought when he was bad, and now Purcell's been ruled out for
yeah, I
tomorrow.
mean, like, the trade basically involved three people that don't play football. Is what happened as far as I can tell. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked about the trade kind of at length. I think it came down to you get the depth, and I get Lamb, who will play in a couple weeks, and then unfortunately for Sylvia, Purcell has now been ruled out, and McConkey had his worst game of the season. But I will say, like, in Lad's defense, so did Keenan Allen. Like, the whole team did. The Chargers could not have been a worse team. Like, I feel like I could have run out Rutgers, like the college team Rutgers, and they would have played better than the Chargers this week. So I'm just not
Yikes.
I'm not super worried about it. Like, I I still think that other than Quentin Johnson, who's just amazing, and I can't believe I left him on waivers as long as I did, and Chris got him. Chris, you're a bum. I hate you. I don't really hate you, but still, like, we do this every year. There's one player who just blows up every week, but we just don't believe it, and then Quentin Johnson blew up every week. We waited 3 weeks into the season before someone finally was like, "I already want to pick him up," and then sure enough, this game where every other Charger lays an egg, I think Quentin Johnson was the only one who didn't. Right, like, he's the only one that had anything at all. Yeah, 8 for 98 and a touch, like, on 13 targets.
13 targets.
Like, this,
Wow.
he is the wide receiver one for San Diego, and it's not close. And nobody saw that coming. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this game, honestly, just both these teams just don't. I don't know. Like I, I liked Miles' team, and I still like Miles' team. When you look at the names, like Jordan Mason, he's now the starter. Cam Scadaboo, now the starter. Keenan Allen, he's moved into a great role. Justin Jefferson. Warren has been great as a rookie. Danny Dimes has been amazing. Like, you look at all these players, like, yeah, this is a good football team, and then you look at the score, like, what happened? Although I will say he benched my boy Ibuka. I'm not too thrilled about that.
Yeah.
But
Listen, I don't know how you make the decision to. I mean, I guess Godwin came back, but then
Eagles.
Evans is hurt. So like that, there's risky decisions that you make. Benching Ibuka when he's been doing. Oh, click on his game log. Like what?
well, I
I
will
know
say,
Keenan Allen.
I mean, he had a 77-yard touchdown. It's like if you take that away, it's 3 catches for 20 something yards. Like that's
I get it.
Exactly.
and that's how his stat line has been every week. So I understand Miles' decision. I'm upset with because I love Ibuka, but he did have 10 targets. Like his target share went up. It's just he didn't make the catches.
I also think it's more of the defense matchups with those those corners and secondary. I think that's what more of the focus was.
No,
This is
I
a
agree.
rookie
I
wide
want to
receiver
clarify what I
against
said.
that world champion defensive secondary.
Yeah, I was not saying that I disagree with the decision. I said I didn't like it because I'm still mad that he took Ibuka and I couldn't have him. So this is purely me being spiteful. No, I do not fault him for starting Keenan Allen because like I said, I picked the Chargers in the survivor pool. I thought they would beat the New York Giants. Who knew?
Look at Keenan.
Right? So
And Jefferson gets one of those TDs, or look at Keenan Allen's stats real quick.
what do you mean? Like,
Just his game log, yeah, sorry.
yeah.
It's been what, 12, 12,
Yeah, 12,
12.
12, 12.
So even if he gets his average, Miles wins. So that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough one. All right, but yeah, Sylvie got the dub, but she does have some injuries. Tracy's still out. Evans is still out. Parasol's now out, so she's going to be starting Jerry Jeudy with a new QB, or actually Pittman. She'll probably start Pittman. Be fine there. All right, moving on. Bears absolutely rolling, probably because of one of these guys we talked about. He picked up. Look, Quentin Johnson off waivers is now wide receiver 1, and I think Judkins is going to be an RB1 for the rest of the year. And this is a guy he got super late in the draft. And oh yeah, Alshon Jeffrey is like, hey, I still know how to play football, guys.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, three touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. He went back to his college stance, which is just hilarious. For those who don't know, running back stance, usually, you get your legs apart, you got your hands on your knees, kind of squatted down to be ready to explode off one leg or the other. His college stance is he just stand straight up like he's yawning, leaning backwards. And that's what he did this week, and it worked. So, don't know why that works. It's fundamentally not sound at all, but as a Raider fan, if that means he can actually gain yards on the ground, I'll take it. That being said, we blew it and lost to the Bears, and I'm just embarrassed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Jameer Gibbs also stands like that, by the way. But I just props to Chris though. I mean, I know Jordan Love Toyotathon is either ongoing or coming up, obviously. But
It starts in
imagine
October.
losing Jameer
Yeah.
Gibbs.
So this was actually the week before Toyotathon is like a preamble to Toyotathon, and he popped off.
Yeah, but lose Jaden Daniels, your second round draft pick, completely flop your entire wide receiver core because you whiff on your third round draft pick and then your fourth round draft
Harrison
pick.
Thomas.
I mean, what a like. I mean, yeah, to drop 121 points with Judkins, who's a late round running back, to waiver wire wide receiver, waiver quarterback, and then starting your wide receiver 3, like to just flip that script and have faith in it and then drop 121 is just so so ballsy and so ridiculous. So props to the coaching and the management of that.
I think he drafted all of them except for Johnston, right?
Yeah, I was giving him credit for this was a late round draft pick that he held on to,
Yeah.
which was a great
Same
pick.
with Love, right?
With who?
Did he draft Love? I thought Love
Pretty
might
sure
have
he
been
did.
waiver out.
I don't know. I mean, if he didn't draft him, I'm sure he would have been able to get him on waivers. Love's a free agent in pretty much every league I'm in, other than the Dynasty 2 QB league, which I lost to Love this week. For those who watched this game, at halftime, Love had done literal nothing. Dallas was up like 13-12 at the half. And then the second half and overtime happened and I lost. But that's neither here nor there. All right, last game. Oh, Vinny, you let me down, bud. I don't know how we're going to keep doing this podcast, by the way, if you guys keep losing every week and I'm the only one that wins, because, we're losing a lot of credibility here. But yeah, Vinny gets torched by Matt. The Raiders held, Scrub Williams down because why wouldn't they? He sucks. Benson goes on IR. Your wide receivers and running backs, other than that, did fine. But you had a kicker that got you 0 points. That's a rough one. Defense played well. I mean, your team wasn't terrible, but you know what you could have done? You could have started Dak Prescott, the guy you drafted to be your starting quarterback. But instead, you decided to go with the Bear. So explain yourself.
I
That's
mean,
the difference.
I'm not going to bench the QB2 against the Raiders. So, it's just one of those things. Dak hadn't, it's Dak's first game without CD. They're playing the vaunted Packers defense, which obviously isn't that good. In fantasy wise, they've been terrible. So, like everybody that kind of hinged on that. Uh, yeah, dude, I cannot pick a lineup to save my life. I actually was looking, and
Well,
since
you and
we're
I
here,
discussed this. We weren't on the pod. It was after we did this off the air. But I argued for Etienne. You ended up talking me into Vincent, and you went with Vincent. But man, I wish you'd listened to me and gone with Etienne. You wouldn't have won, but it would have been a lot closer. But I guess you're going back to Etienne after this week. And then now I really have to ask you, what are you going to do at wide receiver? Because Drake London finally played like Drake London, right? And he's a guy you drafted to be that. So you want to put him back in, but like, how do you bench a Dunze or Wilson at this point?
Oh, this is ridiculous.
I don't know.
You and your bias need to get out. Look at the stat line. Like, how do you bench this wide receiver, Mitch? He's averaging over 80 yards and a touchdown a game. Like, how do you bench that for Drake
Like
London,
the
who's had
law,
one good game?
the law of averages and any mathematics. You're pretty good at math. You understand this is going straight downhill after this month with Garrett Wilson. You know it's coming.
I don't. Here's the thing. Even if you say the Jets are only going to throw for 150 yards and one touchdown every game, if half
80 of
that
them are
and the
from
TD
Wilson.
and the TD go to Wilson, like
Yeah. I think they said a stat
Please,
in
Vinny,
something that I
start
follow.
Wilson over London the rest of the year. Please.
he had a second touchdown that was
Garrett
called back for offensive PI, by the way. So like he's getting multiple
Which was
red zone targets.
which was actually a terrible call.
It
The
was a
first
terrible
one he
call.
caught was actually ridiculous catch. Like he's not. I don't know if you're getting like only Justin Fields throws that type of ball and praise Garrett Wilson catches it.
But Garrett
Yeah,
Wilson's
but I mean,
just that good.
he also has like over 50% of their air yards and like a 40% target share.
So is that going to be for the whole rest of the year, or he's going to be the first player to ever do that, or do you think the law of averages he's coming down, boys?
Right,
Who else are they going to throw
but
to?
I'm arguing
And
with
it's-
Mitch. We're talking about
all of a
him
sudden
versus this wide
I have to
receiver.
bank on Penix throwing for 340 yards for Drake London to have a halfway decent game for a
Yeah, look,
change.
this is the guy we're talking about replacing him with, right? It's like this is what I'm saying. How do you bench Garrett Wilson for this guy?
Because one of Penix has to be if Penix plays well, London for sure is going to get the
If
point.
Justin Fields
If
plays
Fields
well, Garrett
plays-
Wilson's for sure going to get the points. We've
No,
seen it
that's
every
gonna
week.
come down. That's gonna change. That has to.
Based on
there's
what?
no way he can,
Besides your bias, what statistical fact are you basing it on?
besides
your
a
bias?
defense realizing over the first month that that's the only player they have to cover on defense. Based off that, like defenses are going to change the coverage on Wilson because they cannot get to anyone else.
Mitch, if any NFL defense came into the season not realizing that Garrett Wilson, his former target in college, was going to be his number one target in the pros, they don't deserve to be defensive coordinators. They should have
No,
already
it
known
kinda
that.
Depends on the offense you think you schemed for. That's why a lot of times I think I don't remember who I was talking this about. This is exactly why in the first month or whatever. It was the Julian Edelman and Gronk podcast or whatever. They're talking about how when they played for the Patriots for all those years, they didn't even run any play that they were going to run for the rest of the year or important plays in the playoffs the first month. So they don't want any defense to scheme against them whatsoever because what the defenses and the coordinators do really well is they can take your first month of film and they've got you locked up for the rest of the year, for the rest of it. So the Patriots used to not even run plays that they were going to run the rest of the year for the first month because then the defensive coordinators would scheme those and it had nothing to do with what the Patriots were
Hey,
going to run.
when you're a perennial Super Bowl contender who expects to win, you can probably afford to do that. When you're
The
just
Wilson-
when you're
so
just
Jimmy
trying to
Alex
win
and
a
the Jets are
single
running their
game,
best play.
like the New York
Yes.
Jets,
So the Jets-
you
so
blow up
the-
all the stops because you just want to win one game, man. I just want one
Exactly,
game.
Alex. So they're running their best plays and their best throws to Wilson right now, and defenses are going to scheme for the rest of the year against what that Jets offense is doing. It's still Fields on a new team, new offense, new coordinator, so coordinators still need to get a look for it. Look, I'll take as many pies in the face as you want. Just load them up on Garrett Wilson, boys, and I'll take them all. So that's
Uh,
just. I think our Metcalf, we had a, I can't even remember now. We had a Metcalf Wilson one or no, Vinny? I can't remember.
Yeah, Metcalf Wilson straight up. Which if, Metcalf is just so frustrating because all he does is score touchdowns every
I was
week.
gonna say, you watching Metcalf is probably just as frustrating as me watching
Takes
Wilson.
takes like a 90-yard slant to the house, you know. But
And
I just
I'll
wanted
put,
to.
yeah,
I just want. It's just so funny. Like I don't know what to do with Wilson or London, but so one of the things that's super frustrating in this league is I just can't start a lineup to if my life depended on it. So
yeah.
I just want to read you how crazy this is right now, right? So this is the first week of buys, but Caleb, like I have this, my roster has the QB5, RB4, RB6, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 7, tight end 5, and I am like last in the league in points for. In what world does that happen? It's just
It,
I cannot start like I didn't start Odunze and Wilson soon enough. I have never started Etienne because I had Chase Brown and thought, oh, they'll be better. And then Benson, you know, so and then I can't start the right quarterback. You know, I don't start Dak the week he scores 30. I am literally miles last year. Like I need to get rid of people to just force my lineup to stay the same.
yeah, or you just can't do the week to week thing because your players are good enough to transcend the matchups. That's the worst. That's the toughest part. I always say right above that echelon of when your players aren't really benchable based on matchups, then you just have to lock and load those guys. But I will give you as much credit as I give you. I will have to go give you shtick. Like I. When you turned me on from the David Canales, Liam Cohen difference, and then I did more research into it, I started jumping on board with you massively. And I can show you my biggest money league and my two biggest money leagues. I have ETN on my team, and I started him since week two. One over Chase Brown, and the other one over oh my gosh, Pacheco. So Pacheco's a little bit easier call. Chase Brown, not so much. Burrow didn't go down till week two. But I looked at that and I go, Vinny was right on with ETN. Now we're at week four and you have not started your number one guy. That's on you, buddy. You should literally
Yeah.
not even look back on the fact that you started Benson over ETN. You deserve an L. Not against Matt. You deserve a win against Matt. But ETN might be like legitimately top five running back, and you got him super late. This is where you take your victory lap, jump on your horse, and rub it in everyone's faces, but you refuse to start him. London and Wilson, I will joke around with you and have fun, and I will admit in hindsight I have massive biases towards Wilson, especially fantasy players who were drafted by the Avengers and didn't even perform up to like 1/10 of what they should have done. You know what I mean? Those players I'm gonna always hate for fun, right? So look, I get you want to have fun with me between Wilson and pie bets and all that, sure. But there's no world where ATN is not in your starting lineup and you're just rubbing it in our faces every week.
Hello?
All right, we have a guest.
Do
How's it
we?
going?
We have a guest? Who's our guest? I just heard the ding ding.
Hi, Chris.
Oh snap! It's
Can you
Christian
hear me?
Lee. What's happening, Captain?
We need
Yeah,
Not
a
much.
legal guy for
we
our
were
next
we were going around
segment.
the league and we talked about how you laid the smackdown on the Mile High Heist this week. Luis changing team names did not help him at all. How you feeling about your
No,
squad, Chris, after this week?
I'm feeling great. I'm sure Janty will continue to dominate now that he's changed his stance,
Yeah,
allegedly.
yeah, the
You
stats.
know, uh, yeah, I expect 40-point games out of the Green Bay Packers every week, and we'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
I mean,
I'm just
I have
gonna
to
roll
say,
with
like
those QJs.
the QJs, man, this is the core of your roster. Like stashing, you drafted a guy who wasn't on an NFL team and held on to him for weeks, and now he's going to be an RB1 the rest of the year, I think. And then the other QJ, for 3 weeks, everyone in this league was like, "Nah, we don't want this guy." And then finally, you grabs him, and he has just been unreal. Did you see his stat line? Not this stat line. Did you see the targets on the game, Chris?
No,
Look at this. So I don't know if you can see my screen, but so if you look at
I
the targets,
when I
he had 13. Keenan Allen and McConkey combined for 13. Like he is the RB or the wide receiver one, and it is not close for the San Diego Chargers or LA
when
Chargers
I
now.
put in the waiver for him, I thought I was like easily a week or two too late, and I wouldn't grab him.
I had
but
a
I was
waiver in for him too.
very happy.
Part of my logic with trading McConkey, I'm like, I'm gonna pick up Huge. I don't need 2 Charger wide receivers. I'll trade McConkey and pick up Huge, and you beat me to him. And man, I'd feel a lot better about my team if you hadn't, because
As
my team's hurting.
as someone who has no wide receivers, I'm upset I did not pull the trigger last week on him, and I did have a waiver in for this week, but Chris was ahead of me. And also, I just looked to Chris's defense. Love was his 11th round pick. That's pretty impressive.
Nice. That is impressive. I will say though, there's nothing like drafting Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison back to back that forces you by week 3 to have to pick up Quentin Johnston and start him.
Hey, I can't tell you how many people that I have playing in across all leagues that I got off waivers or like after round 8. It's ridiculous.
Look,
Yeah.
I want to make fun of Chris for his 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round picks being irrelevant, but then you'd have to look at my team, and that would be Higgins, McLaurin, RJ Harvey. So
Yeah,
I don't.
The difference is, Chris plays the waiver wire, and he shores up holes in his team by picking up Judkins and Johnson, and then you have other guys that we talked about earlier who have multiple guys on IR on their bench that have been out for season for a while. So
Not only that, but if you're still rostering Loveland at this point, I mean that's wild. Like, how many catches does he have on the season? I think I have him like in a super super deep league, and you can't even like consider him at this point.
He has 6 targets and 3 catches through 4 weeks. But that might be better than Tank Bigsby, who since being traded has 0 carries and 0 targets. But is still
he's
on
not even getting.
this roster.
He's not even getting on the field or whatever.
No,
If
that's
you're
what I'm
looking
saying.
at, like, snap count.
He could literally drop 1, 2, honestly 3, 4. He could drop his entire bench and we wouldn't notice.
Yeah,
He's got
and then you have to factor in Tyreek.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm assuming he puts in I'm assuming he puts in Godwin for Tyreek when I say he drops his entire bench. So.
Also, I think the Steelers are on bye this week as well, so it'll be an interesting. Who plays Cam this week?
Who gets the free basket? You mean? Let's see. Not me. Oh, speaking of the devil,
my
it's
God!
Chris.
Oh my
Chris,
God.
heavy favorites this
Wow,
week.
you don't deserve it.
So we have Bucky Irving, who may not play, Tyreek Hill, who's on IR, Metcalf, who is on a bye.
Someone text Chris or Cameron. I mean,
Yeah. So
That's going to be you, Mitch. You 100% are going to text Cam after this.
I would have texted him a
Chris,
week ago.
I'm going to tell you right
2
now,
weeks
if
ago.
you lose this week, that's going to be rough, buddy. I also noticed another pickup you made, Darren Waller, going after a guy who used to be a tight end 1 in fantasy, and this week he was certainly a tight end 1 with multiple touchdowns.
Yeah,
Chris,
you got to play that waiver wire, man. You got to do
Chris,
it.
you go. Your 2. Who is your? It went Jaden 2, but then your next 3 picks go what? Like Thomas, Marvin, and Kamara.
Yes.
Yeah. You and me, buddy, we got to work on our mid-round selections.
But hey, if you told me before the draft or after I drafted that Jaden Daniels wasn't going to be with me for 2 games and I was going to come out of
2-0.
division play plus the first game 2-2, I would have taken that all day.
For sure.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if we told you that in week 5 you'd be starting Quentin Judkins, Quentin Johnson, and Darren Waller, you'd probably think your season hadn't gone very well. But I think it's looking up, Chris. I think it's looking up for you, bud.
Yeah, we'll see. Knock on wood.
Any topics you want to discuss while you're here as our special guest?
No, I just wanted to drop in. I had like a 10-minute gap that I could swing by, and I was like sitting down before I have something start at 5, and I was just like, hey, I'm going to swing by and say hi.
Cool, man. Well, we're always happy to have you. And while I have you here, there is something that I do want to address with our listening audience. The Doctors of Doom Fantasy Football Podcast is brought to you by Gulshani Lee LLP. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call Gulshani Lee. You may be entitled to compensation. Sponsors of the pod, thanks so much for being here, Chris.
Happy to do it. You guys will see that next week or the week after, you're going to see a new head sponsor of this podcast.
That's right. That one's a freebie because you're not actually sponsoring us yet, but I'm going to go ahead and do the read for you now. But yeah, they're going to be sponsoring the pod. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, thanks for dropping by, Chris. Always good to chat with you, bud.
Yeah,
Yeah, happy to keep this pod running.
We're so thankful that when those people use code word DoD, we get 5% of the proceeds. So really,
Yeah.
it's really charitable.
Yeah. Use special code DOD at checkout. Oh
Yeah,
man.
that's definitely illegal, and I could lose my bar license for that.
Drop
But
that to the court
I'm okay
stenographer.
having that on a public podcast. That's fine.
Oh man. That's good. All right. Well, Mitch.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Hey, take it easy, guys.
See you, Chris. Good
See ya,
everybody.
Chris.
Later.
All right. So, like I said, for those who listened last week, I said that I was sick of Mitch always trying to ruin my little segments. So we made him come up with one. He hasn't told us what it's going to be. So, Mitch, take it away. What we doing?
The title of my segment is called Contender, Pretender, or Former Offender.
And I will
you
say,
can-
I appreciate the fact that you kept the rhymes going.
I had to do rhymes. There's other segments, but then I was going to do something that didn't rhyme, but I don't know if it would have been funny. So I just went with this one. And this one I've had a lot of fun with this so far, but I don't know how it's going to play out on air. You basically, I'm going to give you a, I'm going to give you like a description. You're going to guess the player, and then you get to analyze whether you think it's a contender, pretender, or former offender. So we can start out with like a layup easy one just to see how it goes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Does it start with this former running back punched his girlfriend in an elevator?
We can start with all right, well, let's skip around. Here we go. This person has been a top 7 running back for 4 straight years, and he is currently outside the top 36 right now.
Derrick
Who's that
Henry.
player? No.
Oh, this is 4 straight years. So somebody with sustained success.
Previously
David Montgomery.
at one point for 4 straight years.
Oh, at one point. At one point.
Wait, so it doesn't finish the year as top 7, but at one point was top 7?
No, at one point for 4 straight years he was top 7 running back.
So not
currently
the
on
most
top
recent 4
36.
straight years.
Yeah, that was the trick of the question, but Vinny was right. It's Ray Rice, and the answer is former offender. So that one's a layup one. We can move on to a real one now.
Okay,
That was just-
Outside the top 36 is
Of course.
so dirty.
Is he even playing?
You
No.
should have said like outside the top 100.
You can see how this is gonna go. Okay, all right. So here's the next one. Okay,
Yeah.
this wide receiver finished top 5 in average points per game last year, and is currently outside the top 36.
Brian Thomas.
I'm going to say
he was right.
Rasheed Rice.
No, he was much lower. He was 16th. The answer is Higgins. Now, is he a contender, pretender, or obviously not a former offender for the rest of the year?
Oh, he's a pretender, man. Without Joe Burrow,
He's a pretender.
Browning
Oh.
is terrible.
Honestly, okay, I mean, kind of on that same note, like at this point, like, I mean, we could talk about even Matt has 0 backup wide receivers aside from Jamar Chase and
Yeah.
George Pickens, and obviously Pickens without Lamb is great. But like, what do you do with Jamar Chase? Like, you can't start him at this point. I'm not even starting him in a league where I have to start 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. Like, he has just been so atrociously bad. Higgins has been bad. Like, Browning has been terrible. I know they're playing good defenses. I just don't know. Like, what do you do with the Bengals as a whole? Like, they're completely non-startable assets.
And I want to point out that the 11-point game he had, this came on the back of a 40-yard touchdown that happened because the defensive backs ran into each other. Like, the defensive backs tackled one another is the only reason this play even happened. So he could very easily be at 3-3-1-3.
Yeah, and anybody that's sitting here saying, "Oh, well, the Bengals should go trade for a quarterback," obviously aren't watching how bad their defense is as well. Like, there's no way that you're gonna give up long-term assets to try to finish 500 this year. Like,
And it's
I
not-
think they've just accepted their fate of being garbage.
And it's not like their offensive line's going to magically block for a different quarterback anyway.
God, it's so bad. That's just so bad.
This is not what you drafted Jamar Chase to do.
No, that's rough. Okay,
But
next
props to
one.
Matt for being Matt is 3-1 with his first round draft pick being a bust of all busts. So
Well, the thing is, it's like, is the right now, just speaking on to this point, is like from the podcast I heard and everything is, and some actually one of the sources that like it seems to be right over the years is confirming that like the Bengals and the Giants are in talk right now for Russ, but what's holding it up is if Russ does well, he doesn't want to be benched when Burrow comes back. Is apparently the story right now. So I think Matt's just holding out that over because they've had historically, like I said, 3 games under 200 yards in the last 10 years, and in the last 3 of the 4 weeks they've had under. So I think there might be a QB change. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to start Jamar Chase the rest of the year if they don't have the QB change. Like I don't think anyone can start Chase the rest of the year with Browning. It's terrible.
I
I
mean,
do think it's funny that
most people that
that you
drafted him probably have to, right? You're probably in a situation where you can't afford to not. But
Sure,
yeah, it's rough.
it's real
it's
rough.
also kind of ironic that Mitch just said that Chase doesn't have value unless they trade for Russell Wilson, which is the same reason he was out on Malik Neighbors.
That's true.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is a little weird, Mitch.
there are worse quarterbacks in the league than Russell Wilson, apparently. Let's be real here. And honestly, I hope it's not Russ. I hope it's Cousins. It's like Cousins, you're either not going to play apparently against a struggling Penix, or you could at least come play for a couple months and show the rest of the league that you're healthy again. You have a better chance of playing for a couple months on the Bengals, and then Chase and Higgins has become fantasy studs with Kirk Thuggins.
Yeah, that's definitely not on Kirk. The Falcons are holding him hostage at this point. I think that,
Yeah, yeah.
there's internal rift there. I think they're just like willing to just eat his salary until someone just offers them the moon, and I don't think anybody's going to offer them the moon. So,
Okay. Okay. So that next one, or yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
go to the
So
next one.
yeah,
the
contender,
next one,
pretender, former offender.
this running back has been top 10. In 2022, he finished just outside the top 10 at like 11 or 12, but top 10 the last 2 years, basically last 3 years, and currently has zero fantasy points.
Well, okay, so it's probably someone who like not playing or on IR or something, right? Like that's the troll here. Um, who
Has
retired? Like,
anybody been arrested? Alex, let's think through this. Has anybody been arrested this year? Oh my God, it's pretender and it's Joe Mixon.
Nice. Well done,
nice, well
sir.
done.
Well done. Damn, I thought these were going to be a lot harder. He took that down in
That was a
seconds.
good one.
Um,
Well, I
uh,
figured it had to be a good running back who had 0 points. Unfortunately for that game, running backs tend to be less frequent in the offender realm than wide receivers, and who could possibly have 0 points that's also been successful the last few years. So, um, yeah, that was a good one though. That was good.
okay. Um, okay. Hold on, I'm just scanning some of these. All right. This one is a team, okay? This team was thought to be a promising playoff team and an NFC caliber NFC what's the game called? The NFC Championship game, predicted by a lot of analysts, and they are currently 2-2 right now.
Huh. A 2-2 team that people thought would be NFC. Oh, Minnesota Vikings.
Close. Oh
Yeah, I
wait.
was thinking.
Oh wait, I messed that up. Sorry, I messed it up with the other one. And I messed up the thing. This team is 2-1-1.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
Green
was gonna.
Bay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Either Green Bay or yeah, Green Bay or Dallas. I was like, well, it's not a tie, so it definitely rules those guys out.
I don't think there were a bunch of experts that had Dallas in the NFC Championship game. So also Green Bay.
I bet my bad, yeah. That's not one. It might be a setup for the next one coming, but don't worry. Okay, so Packers, are they pretenders, or former, well, clearly not former offenders, but
I want to say contender, um, but man, they've looked super vulnerable over the last couple weeks. They came out like wildfire, then you lose to the Browns, and then
I'm
you
gonna
give
say
up
contender
40
because
points.
I think the Browns defense and the Cowboys offense are a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Like people think Browns and Cowboys and think these are bad teams, and like they are bad teams, but the Browns defensively, I would take that defense over almost anyone. And the Cowboys offense, let's just be real, that may be the best offense in football right now. Even without CeeDee Lamb, they can throw it all over you and they can run it all over you. For the first time in a decade, the Cowboys can run the football. And like when you make them not one-dimensional, that's a good team. Like Dak is playing like an MVP caliber player right now. Like people don't want to like think of it that way because like they're not winning. And it's like, yeah, Dak's not winning, but like when you look at his actual stat line, like I'm not talking about fantasy ones, like actual stat line, this is a guy who's like lighting it up. Like other than, look, week 1 wasn't great, right? Which by the way, they were in that game. You know what I mean? They almost won it. So like week 1 wasn't great. Since week 1, he's been lighting it up. Good completion percentage, good yardage, getting TDs. Like,
Yeah, and you have to remember too, week 1 was that weird. I remember Mitch was like, "Oh, Dak doesn't look that good." We were texting before, and then I turn it on. He's like 11 for 12 for like 130 in the first half, just no big plays and no touchdowns. And then
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb dropped. That's the game where he dropped like 110 yards worth of passes.
That was the game.
including
Remember, the
touchdowns,
Cowboys
but-
did not punt in the first half. The Cowboys looked great until the rain delay. There was a 1-hour storm delay, and then the game was totally different. But up until that storm delay, the Cowboys were marching up and down the field on every possession.
Yeah.
All right, Mitch. Next up.
Okay. This team is also 2-1-1 and ended up it was also 2-1-1 and had the same expectations to go to the NFC Championship.
The Dallas Cowboys.
No.
Oh, another team.
Another team that has a tie this season that's not the Packers or Cowboys?
I didn't say this season.
He didn't say this season. He didn't say this
You
season.
bum.
Historically speaking.
All right, give us the clue again.
They were at the same point 2-1-1 and were expected to do well and go to the NFC Championship game in 2023.
2023.
Is it the
This
Eagles?
this would be the Commanders, and this would be former offenders because Dan Snyder had this on the team for being on a yacht with a bunch of women. I did look it up, and they were 2-1-1. All right, next
good
one. Let's see here. Okay. Wait, I had it up on the stat on the screen. Okay, this player last year as wide receiver finished in the top 16 and currently is outside the top 24 right now, but looks real good last weekend.
Drake London?
I mean, Drake London would be the obvious guess, but you said so last year he finished top 16. London finished higher than top 16 last year. So
For sure.
hold on. So this is someone who, sorry, say it again, Mitch. He's currently outside he's outside the top 24, but last week he looked good.
Last week he looked good, and he finished top 15, 16 last year as wide receiver.
Just for the sake of giving us a chance, I'm gonna go to the week 4 scoring here.
Oh, could it be George Pickens?
Could it be your boy DK Metcalf?
No, good guesses. He's out of the top, I think, 24 this year right now.
Right, I'm
But
looking at
last-
last week though. You said last week he had a good game, so I'm trying to see who had
Oh,
a
yeah,
game
yeah.
last week. Oh, Marvin Harrison?
Nope.
All right, well,
I think
I'm
he looked good. He looked good, but not necessarily had a good game.
okay, he looked good, didn't have a good game. Oh, Chris Godwin.
Oh, that one should be the answer. But we're gonna go because Godwin has no former offenders. We're gonna go with Jamison Williams. We were looking for either contender, pretender, or former offender, and former offender would have been correct, seeing as Jamison Williams has currently been violating for betting on the league and was out for 2 years in a row suspensions. But do you think he's a contender or pretender the rest of the year?
He's a pretender. They paid him $83 million when he had 83 catches in the NFL, and it may take him another 6 years to get 83 more catches. So he may play that full contract before he doubles his catches.
He's super overpaid. I think he's really good in his system, and we'll have a couple games where he goes off. I think he's just one of those where the defense, he's a perfect complement to David Montgomery, Laporta, and Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Like all these dudes who just open up the middle of the field when you have Jameson Williams just taking the ceiling off and having to have that safety help. So I think he's just a way overpaid system guy. And, in basketball, Mitch, he's like your 3-and-D guy that's like, kind of clutch, but you have to like way overpay for that position,
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I guess look, if there's a guy the defense has to account for, like he's more of a decoy, but like it's one of those where if you leave that decoy alone, he's going to torch you and make you pay for it, right? So
exactly.
They're kind of forced into it.
Okay, we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, we can go.
We literally named every wide receiver except for the right one on that.
Yeah, we did.
This wide receiver, yeah.
No, go ahead.
This wide receiver has previously put up a year of over 1,500 receiving yards. He currently hasn't retired and is available for a team.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Close.
Oh.
Julio did retire.
He's got to be either a contender, a pretender, or a former offender. Let's remember, guys.
Well,
I know.
If he's currently available, then he's definitely not a contender.
Oh my God! It's Antonio Brown.
Close.
Oh no!
I'm gonna say pretender. I don't know who it is, but I'm saying pretender. I thought my OBJ guess was good because OBJ is looking for a team.
He is. It's Josh Gordon. And he was a former offender. We had that one. All right. Okay. Seriously, this wide receiver. This wide receiver is currently top 5 in average points per week and in targets is outside. Oh, no, sorry. Is in top 5. Sorry, as well. Currently.
He's top 5 in targets and what?
And points per week average.
Okay.
And he plays in the AFC.
So
is our boy QJ that we've been talking about?
Yeah, there you go. Is he contender or pretender?
He's contender. At this point, after 4 weeks, he's a contender. I mean, that's just this is a guy who's been a monster. Like he's wide receiver 4 right now, guys.
Yeah.
I just can't buy it. I just can't buy it. I might eat crow on it, and like that's fine. He's just not a guy that I want to validate in this position as a contender.
But his target share is going up, not down. Like that's the wild part to me. His target share is going up.
I have such a hard time understanding that because he had 2 terrible seasons with the team, and by all accounts and purposes, like Ladd McConkey is a much better player, and Herbert also loves Keenan Allen. I just don't see it being sustainable. Like to me, this is like that. Remember, I think we had the same discussion minus the "are they an offender" part, and we were talking about the Jameson Williams of the league, and like there was other guys that were super up there early in the. To me, that's where Quentin Johnston falls, but I could definitely be wrong. Like. I'm banking on the fact that he's not going to continue to get the volume that he's getting, and that could very easily stay the same.
I mean, here my whole thing is, in a game where they were blowing the other team out, he still got 7 targets, and in a game where they were behind, he got 13. Like he's a guy they're going to go to when like that. That tells me that when they need something to make something happen, they're going to go to him, right? But also, when they don't need to make something happen, they're just doing the normal offense, they also throw to him. And I think that's a big game to me. Because like, it'd be one thing if like he was only getting these targets in games where they're behind and games where they're ahead, they don't use him. But they're using him in every game. And so, to me, I think he's a contender.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, next one.
Mitch, what do you think? What do you think he is?
Oh, I think he's a pretender. I mean, look at the targets Keenan Allen's got. I think Lad McConkey's going to come out. I don't know if he can
Well, I can
continue the
scroll down
team.
for Keenan Allen. For Lad McConkey, I'm gonna have to search it because I ain't scrolling that far. But
No, for sure. I'm just saying there has to be some kind of, otherwise he's one of the greatest fantasy value picks in history. Like you can throw him up there with like Adam taking Jamar Chase in like round seven, or you could throw him up there with some of the greatest picks. And by the way, I think it's so funny when we make fun of Chris with the CJ2K and Drew Brees year. He went those two, but he started Mahomes that whole year when that he won the Super Bowl, right? So like it's even funnier that it's like CJ2K and Drew Brees. Well, that year he had Drew Brees on his bench the whole year, and Mahomes was his wing. So, but yeah, going back to, I just think McConkey is like what Quentin Johnson the first, last year he wasn't irrelevant, but like McConkey had a better rookie year than Quentin Johnson's rookie year 3 years ago. McConkey seems to be the better talent. I feel like it will average out. The better player will see it more, as opposed to like the offense of Greg Roman could just be very circumstantial. So it's been passed down his lineage. It go and like the what's his name on the Packers, where it's like, for example, I know I'm getting a little off topic, but like juxtapose it with CeeDee Lamb. We're gonna game plan the Justin Jefferson CeeDee Lamb, right? No matter what, that's who we're game planning towards. Whereas when the Packers or the Chargers come out, it's whatever corner you don't put on our best receiver, we're gonna go to that receiver that week. That seems to be the style, and the Packers kind of adopted that. It's like, let's say you're playing the Commanders. Well, Lattimore can only guard one guy, so we're gonna just go to one of the other wide receivers that week. It could be a different receiver every week. I think that's what's going to average out with the Chargers and McConkey.
the difference is
Is
McConkey's target share has gone down each week, and Quentin
oh, for
Johnson's has
sure.
gone up, and that that
I
that to me
think
is more
yeah,
telling.
yeah, for sure. But as far as Quentin Johnson being top five, that's some serious. That's some serious like to be up there. He might finish 12 or 14 and still be a contender, but in top five land, I just that'd be very impressive. That I don't think we'd ever have seen it. He's undrafted in every league. Undrafted. Going to be a top five wide receiver. That's insane.
Well, when I say contender, I'm talking about a guy you're gonna like top 24 is a contender because it means you're starting him, right?
100%. So yeah,
But
it's just blame it on the game, Alex. It's a terrible game.
I think it's a great
Okay.
game, and it's great that we're playing along and not trying to ruin it.
Oh, okay. No, that's true too. All right. Okay. This running back has finished in double digit TDs over 10 times. In 2021, he played for three different teams. And currently, right now, he is sitting outside the top 18 running backs.
See, I was gonna pick someone that like doesn't play anymore because you said like played for three teams in one season.
In 2021, this player, same player, played for three different teams. I could name the teams if you want.
No, 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 no.
That's a tough one because
Three different teams.
I don't know who like. Oh, Chuba Hubbard.
No.
10 touchdowns historically, so it's kind of like an old 10 touchdowns.
That's what, is it Adrian
2021.
Peterson?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew it was Adrian Peterson.
Offender.
Former offender. Yeah.
Offender.
Bro he sat there and said outside the top 18. Like,
That's what got me because like when he first described him like, oh, this is AP, but then when he said outside the top 18, that implies that he's playing.
No, he's currently outside the top 18 right now. Yeah, I gotta somehow mix it in. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, man.
Wait, I'm scrolling on my nose. I think I had like one or two more. Uh, yeah, okay. Wait. Where is it? No, I just had the page up. Okay, here we go. This wide receiver in his career has finished top 24 multiple times. He currently has bounced around a couple teams the last couple years and is outside the top 24 right now. But in targets, oh no, I just had the page up. Where was he ranked? He is ranked inside the top 16.
So this is a guy who's getting a lot of targets and a lot of catches. is what we're hearing basically.
And
Interesting.
last year he was 21st in targets. I counted really fast. It's going to be really, really close there.
So who's heavily targeted but not getting a lot of fantasy points?
Bounced around. Is it Devontae Adams?
Good guess. No.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, you said bounced around is different. Not in one season though. You said over the course of a couple seasons. You said
Correct.
okay. Um,
He was a top 24 wide receiver a couple years in a row for a certain
I
team,
was
and
gonna
now he's been
DK
on
Metcalf.
close.
No, Diggs isn't getting any targets.
That's another good guess. Some of these I forget about when I'm making this
Calvin
stuff up.
Ridley.
There
Oh,
you
Jacob.
go.
Oh
Well
wow.
done. Well
Calvin
done,
Ridley.
Alex.
Uh,
Is he a contender, pretender, and a
former
former offender?
former offender, yeah. But also pretender, yeah. So pretender and former offender.
Pretender
So
and
much of a
former
pretender
offender.
that he is a free agent in our league after being dropped, and I picked up Eric Arminar, the other wide receiver for the Titans, because I think he is going to get more love than Calvin Ridley on that team.
Yeah, I liked Ridley because I still think he's a good football player. But have you guys seen the like? Apparently, he's struggling with drops so bad they're making him wear these like special sunglasses or like with like small eye holes for catching practice. Um, yeah, it
Look at that catch rate.
he's bad. And let's be real, like he hasn't really been fantasy relevant since he came back.
That's a
Since
sub
his former
50% catch rate.
offenders. Since his former offensive, he hasn't
Yeah.
been relevant.
No, I mean, last year and the last couple seasons
Yeah,
he was fine. Like 1,000 yards,
top 24.
8 TDs, 1,000 yards, 4 TDs.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
you
this
weren't,
year,
trust me, you were not starting him.
It was tough to start him. Yeah, he was right on that border.
Yeah.
I would say
He was,
2023 you'd start him. 1,000 yards, 8 TDs. 1,000 yards is only 4 TDs is rough, yeah. But
yeah.
but yeah, you just thing of the past. Looks like he's also injured.
That's
Oh
Mitch's favorite. Offender and pretender.
yeah, it's all about the offenders.
Oh gosh. Okay, this running back last year, well, it finished in the 5 to 7 mark, depending on your league scoring. So he's top 7. This year, he is currently outside the top 24. Oh, he's right at the 22 to 26 mark.
Derrick Henry.
Good guess. He,
Alvin Kamara.
no, good guess. He has the biggest discrepancy in drafts when they were drafted. He could be as early as a first rounder, or he could be as late as a third
So
rounder.
this is a guy that gets a lot of catches, I'm guessing, because PPR versus standard scoring where he gets drafted. That's my guess.
That's a
Um,
great guess, but I'm gonna say that's not necessarily correct for this guy.
oh, okay.
That's a great
Interesting.
guess. I didn't even think about that. But he was drafted first round in our league, and I think he went as late as third rounds in the league that we shared. I know that's a 10-man league and it's different, but in other leagues, he also went in the third round for me
I'm
in a
trying to think
couple of
what
them.
running backs went in the first round of our league.
And then he has basically gotten top, let's see here, 2023. Yeah, he was top 5 2 years ago. And he was, yeah, so he's been top 5, top 7 the last 2 years. He's currently outside 24, and he was drafted generally between middle of round 1 all the way to the middle of round 3. Who is this guy? Contender, pretender, or former offender?
Wow, this is tough. And he's sitting far back right now.
Right now, he is sitting 22 to 26, 22 to 25. I just counted really fast. One, two.
And the only people that I can think of that are doing that poorly would
24.
be like Brees Hall, but Brees Hall wasn't top 7 last year, not first round this year.
Last 2 years in a row, good for 225 carries and top 7 running back.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Uh,
Is it your boy Kyron?
there we go. Kyron
Oh,
Williams,
wow.
pretender, contender, and he was not a former offender as far as I'm aware
I'm
of.
gonna.
So,
So as far as being top 24, I'll say contender. But as far as where you drafted him, he's a pretender, and it's not his fault. Matt Stafford now has two high quality wide receivers, and they're just lighting it up in the air. And they're also
Yeah,
are they
spelling
gonna
him.
are they gonna are they gonna throw the whole year? That I
Well,
mean, he went from a bad
they're doing
back to
that,
just
and
lighting it up.
they're also spelling him by giving some carries to the other backs to save his
Like,
legs for the playoffs, which is great from a football team standpoint, but terrible from a fantasy standpoint.
yeah. And he was one of those players, I think we kind of talked about it. Mitch, I was only high on him because you were. You know how like every once in a while there's players that like we talk about throughout the year that like when it
yeah,
comes to other leagues, we're like, oh, I'm gonna be high on this player because like I have faith in these other fantasy managers and like their success rates.
yeah,
Kyron, from an efficiency standpoint, like just data analytics, is not that good. He gets a lot of volume, he scores a lot of touchdowns, but like when you look at like his run per yard over expected, it's always lower than the average. Um, so now that he's not getting the goal line, like he's not getting as many touchdowns, and even if you look at his efficiency, he hasn't broken 100 yet, but I'm pretty sure he's had like almost 20 carries a game.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, 18, 17, 20, 13. He's 66, 66, 94, 77. So last week he was highly efficient, but he's just not getting the touchdowns. He's just not really getting those big games that we're kind of used to seeing where he was getting 24, 25 carries. So I I think he's going to be a serviceable RB2, but where, like Alex said, where you draft him, it makes him a pretender. Unless you doubled up Kyron and James Cook, and it doesn't really freaking matter, right? Or if you doubled up Kyron and Amari and Hampton for the rest of the year, um, it doesn't matter. So he's a case dependent pretender contender. Hopefully, not a former offender when we do this next time.
Yeah, let's hope he
Uh,
does not become a former offender between now
former
and the next time we
offender.
play this game.
Okay, this QB. Well, you can cut me off anymore. I've got a couple more, but you can cut me off anytime you want. This QB, the last couple years, has finished right around the 9, 10, 11 mark as overall fantasy QB. Before that, he was in the top six for a couple years. Right now, he is currently in the top 4 or 5. Who is this QB?
Oh, low hanging fruit. I know who it is, but I'll give only because I looked at this list earlier. But I'll give
Uh,
Alex a shot.
All right, give me those stats one more time.
Last 2 years, he's been outside the top 10. I think he's been 10 the last 2 years, 10, 11 spot as fantasy QB. The 2 years before that, he was top 5, top 4, actually.
Oh, it's
And this
Mahomes.
year,
It's Mahomes.
pretender, contender, and hopefully not a former offender.
Contender. Like their team is so bad on offense, he finally has to do it himself again.
Yeah,
I'm upset. I didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
I was not. I did not drink the Kool-Aid when Mitch was like, "Oh, this he's gonna
I
be
didn't
like
either.
the
I did not drink
difference
Kool-Aid
in
at
the
all.
game."
Yeah.
It just
Um,
comes down to whatever offense they're structuring. That's the problem. That's the little bit of your problem is Mahomes has the point, but they structured the offense to basically the type of routes you're running don't take as long as seconds is. They're more towards the flat. That there's no sending the guys down the field. There's like it's the whole offense has changed because then they're going to play defense to match that offense. Whereas this year they finally decided screw Josh Allen getting MVP, screw getting beat in the Super Bowl. We're going to let Mahomes remind everyone why he's still King Mahomes. And Alex was right though. You guys are both right. Is we don't know if they were going to change the offense. I had no idea. No one knew. But I'm just saying, whenever that year happens and they actually do change the offense, Mahomes instantly goes back up.
Well,
To,
I think it's a factor of they cannot run the football. Like their running backs are combined averaging like less than 3 yards a carry. It's
very
bad.
true.
Like, and when you can't run the football, you have no choice. Like Mahomes is like their leading rusher. Now the last 2 weeks he hadn't really ran, but the first 2 weeks he had, he had 11 fantasy points from rushing the first 2 weeks of the season.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty. I'm actually looking at that. That's
Is
interesting.
that
And
a
then like,
line? That's a
yeah,
line problem, right?
they absolutely blow out the Giants, and then last week they have Worthy back, and then they'll get Rice back. So it's funny, like he's running and scrambling when he has to, so he can, but then, he flips it on his head and throws, I'm gonna go 270 and 4 touchdowns, and not have to run it.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I'm gonna say contender, especially because the quarterback landscape is just really weird this year. With Jaden being hurt and Lamar being hurt and Burrow being out. Like I'm just convinced that if you can get a guy this year, like that's why maybe Josh Allen is going to be the MVP for fantasy purposes. Like if he just stays healthy and scores 25 points a game, because who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we'll
yeah.
see. All right, Mitch. Great segment. I'm really proud of you, bud. I didn't think you were going to do it. But we'll transition now into my segment if that's cool. Because I did have one. Because I teased it on the pod last week is why. I wasn't going to do it this week because I was going to make Mitch do all the work. But I teased it last week. It wouldn't be fair to the listeners. Well, listener, the one guy who listens, I'm sure. It wouldn't be fair to you, Miles, since you listen, if I teased it and didn't actually pay it off. So this segment I called the all-time prime team. So this is what you think would be the best possible fantasy football team if you had all these players in their prime. Now, I want to be clear. I do not mean having these players the year they had their best ever season, right? I'm not saying, on my all-time prime team, I'm going to take Jamal Lewis because he had 2,000 yards and 20 TDs. Like, he did that once. Other than that, he was just an average 1,000-yard rusher. He was a fine football player. I have nothing but love for Jamal Lewis, but he would not be on anyone's all-time team. What I'm talking about is if you could draft a fantasy football draft and you could have any player who was in his prime and had the potential to put up stats like when he's in his prime, who were you taking? That's what I mean by all-time prime team. Hopefully you guys understood that. I tried to explain it when I explained it to you. So we're going to go QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. We're not going to do ticket kicker and defense because that's a little all over the place. I will say when I did my list, I did it as if we were in a standard scoring league, non-PPR, because that does obviously change things a little bit. If you did yours PPR, that's cool, but mine is not. So we'll go quarterback across the board, then running backs, then wide receivers. So we'll start with you, Vin. Who do you have as your quarterback for your all-time prime team?
So this is one that to me it personally feels controversial, but it's not when you break down everything else on top of it, and you guys may actually agree. My quarterback all-time fantasy, I'm going Josh Allen.
Okay.
When you look at like singles fantasy point production over multiple years, like he's not necessarily passing touchdown dependent like some other guys. Like look at what he's done. He's just casually dropped over 400 fantasy points, including multiple 450 pluses 5 years in a row. Like tell me you would not take that every single year. Why we continue not to draft him in the first round is beyond me when we were drafting guys like Peyton in the first round. So Josh Allen is my fantasy QB one of all time.
Yeah, I mean, can't really argue with that. Solid choice. Like you said, this guy is just, all he does is puts up numbers. Even last year where his passing yards plummeted, he still put up over 400 fantasy points. Mitch, what you got for us?
This is a no-brainer for me. It should be very, very, very obvious. This guy has given me. Let's be clear here. This is just to win a fantasy game, not like if I'm putting together a real life QB, right? Not like you know what I mean.
Right. This
Right?
this is fantasy purposes. Not trying to. You're not trying to win real football games. Trying to win fantasy football.
All right. Well,
games.
then this guy's given me 50% of my championships. So Ann is the second most winning QB in the DoD league behind Drew Brees. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
A-bomb from A-Rod.
All right, moving on.
If
Alex,
if I wasn't allowed to pick him, it'd probably be Vic.
No, you're of course allowed to pick him, but give me your reasons.
Oh, because he's given me 50% of my championships, and he probably statistically might be one of the best fantasy QBs ever. And at the same time, he had a stretch there for about from 2008 to 2015, where if you just drafted him, you pretty much had a championship. So I don't know many other court QBs that it's like, Josh Allen is a great one, but I don't know many other QBs where it's like, if I just get him, it doesn't matter where I get him, I probably will compete in fantasy. And that's rare. That's very rare.
All right. Well, my guy's no longer playing, so I do have to go to Google here for this. But I am going with the low-hanging fruit, as it were, Drew Brees. It's a no-brainer, and I don't think it's close. The Josh Allen pick is for sure a good one, but let me give you some stats for my boy Drew Brees. As we've talked about before in the pod, no QB has won more titles in the DoD than Drew Brees. But let's take the titles out of it. If you look at 2008 to 2016, he averaged just under 5,000 yards and 37 TDs per season. That's right, 2008 to 2016. That is how many years? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 9 years. That's a 9-year span where you're getting 5,000 yards and 37 touchdowns out of your quarterback. Not only is that super high point value, but it's also super great consistency. And that's two things that you can't beat when it comes to drafting a quarterback. Because like I said, you may not be getting him in his best year, but man, you know that if you drafted him during his prime, he's going to give you 5,000 yards and 37 TDs. Like, sign me up all day for that. So I'm going with Lucifer. Like, yeah, Josh Allen may very well have seasons where he scores more, but I'm always going to be able to set it and forget it with Drew Brees and have a chance to win.
Yeah, I'm very surprised none of us took Peyton, but I don't disagree with anybody's choices.
All right, let's move on then to the running backs. So we'll go one at a time here. We'll go Mitch first. Mitch, give me your first running back. I think we might have. I'm surprised that we didn't have any crossover at QB. That's great. Let's see if we have any crossover at running back. So Mitch, give me your running back, sir.
It's not even close for me. I don't think I would
Yeah.
want to play fantasy football if it wasn't for this guy.
For this one guy.
LaDainian Tomlinson. Pretty
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
He's probably the most enjoyable running back I've ever seen. I'm also very biased because of the time that I got to, that I was the age I was when I got to watch him. But yeah, if you look right there, that 2009 to 2010, I watched nonstop San Diego games my whole life for like 7, 8 years. And all of a sudden, I'm watching Jets games over Charger games. That just shows you how much. So I mean, and I think he is the touchdown king, like the literal fantasy touchdown king. So.
I mean, just look at those rushing stats right there. I mean, from his rookie season in 2001 to 2009.
Every year in
Yeah,
San Diego, he had double-digit rushing TDs. Every single year.
That's
I mean
so
that's insane,
crazy.
and that doesn't include the fact that he probably got anywhere between 300 to 500 yards receiving every season, as well as
Go
a
to
couple handful of touchdowns.
2004 receiving.
Oh
He should
my
have been a
God!
Pro
Like, look at
Bowler.
that, dude. Like,
2003, sorry. He should have been a Pro Bowler for 100 receptions as a running back. That is better than almost all the wide receivers that year, except for three, I think it was. 100 receptions for
and then
725 yards. That's crazy.
and then in 2006, he's 2,300 total yards with 30 touchdowns.
All right.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah. Yeah. I
disgusting.
mean, LT was a solid running back for sure. Who you got there, Vin?
Yeah, this is. I think I even said, like, when you threw it out there last week as a teaser, like, we might agree on running backs. LT is the easiest pick here for me. To be my RB1, like, I wouldn't change it. I know Mitch loved him. I actually randomly loved him at TCU. So, and this is like barely watching college football at that point in time. I thought their jerseys were super cool, and I was like, who's this LT guy that is just like the best player ever? So LT for me is my RB1.
Fair enough.
His
Fair
name's
enough.
unbelievable too.
I will
Not
branch out.
Daniel.
I'm not a conformist, so I will give you a different name, although it may be your RB2. But the guy I'm going with is someone that you all know as well, and that's gonna be Adrian Peterson.
Yo!
This one is hard to beat from an output perspective. Adrian Peterson from 2007 to 2015 averaged, on average, 20 carries and 97 yards per game. That's right. This is a guy who's going to touch the ball 20 times and hit the century mark every single game over the course of 9 seasons. That's wild. He also averaged over 12 TDs per season. This doesn't include any of his receiving stats, by the way. They weren't high. He wasn't a great receiver. But this is just rushing stats. If you don't add any receiving stats, you're getting 100 yards a game and 12 TDs a season. That is wild. And it was so consistent because of look how long he did it for. He did that for so many years before, he had some issues, became an offender, had to bounce around. Well, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, Adrian Peterson in his prime is my RB1.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Cool, great analysis, guys. Thanks. Thanks for
Well, I'm
No,
contributing.
deciding whether I'm going to use him as my number two or not right now because he is.
yeah, yeah. That's why I didn't want to give too much analysis because I'm like I also picked
I
him.
also
Like I
think.
think we would agree on running backs, but I have others in mind that I was considering, so I have no problem. Mitch, go ahead if you want to change yours.
No, I really don't. I mean, like for between my next two would probably be like Priest Holmes and Saquon Barkley, to be honest with you.
We're not
So,
playing this game where you pick 17. You got to pick one guy.
then Adrian Peterson, because that's what I had picked.
Okay.
So,
Well, do you have any
yeah.
reasons behind it, or are you just going to say Adrian Peterson? We're going to move on.
Well, yeah, I had him for the 2012 year, and it was very enjoyable and so much fun to watch him. He also did that what people forget during those years, like he had no like LaDainian Tomlinson had Breeze and Rivers for most of his career, like he's doing it with like Christian Ponder and a couple of these other guys. It's like it's remarkable how he was able to run he did on an offense that virtually had no receivers, no QBs, no nothing.
Yeah. Um, AP probably would have been my number two just because of how good he is. I want to throw out an honorable mention. I text Alex before this and I was like, should we do people that like we actually played with? We did not get him in his prime, but I was doing some research on this. Marshall Faulk was an absolute fantasy animal in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like GOAT status, putting up monster years. Unfortunately, like I think we got him on the tail end of his career, so I don't want to sit here and say that would have been a pick for me. But honorable mention of Marshall Faulk. Um, you know, mm, for the sake of it, I consider Derrick Henry as well, just multiple, basically 2,000 yard seasons, touchdown machine. I am gonna go. Um, yeah, look at his Rams numbers, like from a total yards perspective. Like he had 1,000 yard receiving season and 1,000 yard rushing season
Seems
in
decent.
1999. 1,400 and then 1,000 receiving. Look at this 900 receiving yards on top of 1,300 rushing yards. Like just an absolute animal. Uh, I'm gonna go with Priest Holmes though. Like I will bite that bullet. Like that, I'm pretty sure he has two of the top like five running back fantasy
He
years of
does.
all time,
They're
not
back to back,
including LT. To
back to back
think
years.
they were both together is pretty wild. That you had to make the decision between LT and Priest Holmes most years. Uh, and the only time I had the luxury of having Priest Holmes is when he tore his ACL and Alex had his only DoD championship because of Larry Johnson. So
Dude, don't even start with me. I'm the second most winning coach in this league. I just can't get lucky in the Super Bowl. Who did you end up picking?
Priest Holmes
Okay.
is like the easy one.
Sure.
Me on that. I think we all forget like how good. Didn't he average at one point like 6 yards per carry too? Like or like even the Jamal Charles era, like
Well,
for
2002,
like 3 or 4
2000.
years,
well, it,
Priest
tur-
Holmes was like
it
an
turns
animal.
out I actually did pick Priest Holmes as well, which means I did some research. So Priest Holmes is also my RB2. His prime was shorter lived than AP, obviously, but still, we're talking prime. Most running backs don't have a long prime. From 2001 to 2004, that's a four seasons. He averaged over 101 rushing yards per game. That's right. He rushed for over the century mark on average every single game. Oh, was he just a runner? Because AP was just a runner? No, he also caught passes. He averaged over 40 receiving yards per game in those same games. That's right. This guy averaged over 140 yards per scrimmage every single game he played for a 4 year stretch. Oh, and by the way, that's also while having 19 touchdowns per season. 19 TDs. That's more than a TD a game. He missed 10 games in that span, by the way. So this is a guy who averaged more than a TD per game, even with missing 10 of the games. It is wild how good he was during that span. So it was a shorter prime, but man, in that prime, Priest Holmes was a beast. And you said it, Vin, like, we forget how good some of these people were. Which I have more to say about that after I get to one of my wide receivers. But we forget just how good these players really were, like at their peak.
Dude, look at Priest Holmes. He went out in 2004 after 8 games, so he played half the games. He had
13 TDs
1,100 scrimmage yards and 15 touchdowns when he got hurt. Like he was
on
on
eight
pace for
games.
Yeah,
2,200 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, that crazy part is like, how can you not? He's gotten 320, 320. Like nowadays, if that happened, we'd be like, "Oh, I'm worried about his usage. I don't think I'm going to draft Priest Holmes. I'm going to go Bijan." But I honestly didn't know he was a Raven for his first 4 years. How did they mess that up?
Right?
Like they just Jamal Lewis was just so much better than
Jamal
Priest
Lewis is
early
that
on.
good, probably.
I guess like that's crazy.
All right, let's move to the wide
Oh,
receiver category then. Who you guys got at wide receiver?
well, now I kind of want to go first because I know I'm going to get my answer
Well,
stolen.
then go
So.
first.
Go first. Go first.
Well, I'm taking Randy Moss. Randy Moss, because I did have him during that 20 touchdown season. And I had him on the Vikings last year, too. He was unbelievable. I think if you have Randy Moss with any serviceable fantasy QB, let alone like a Tom Brady, you're just guaranteed to have the number one fantasy wide receiver. And I don't even think it's debatable. I have Randy Moss as like number two or three overall, best wide receiver I've ever seen. And I'm going to pick the number one guy, but I wanted to say Moss first because I didn't want him to get stolen by you guys. So there we go. Randy Moss.
Yeah,
Take
I think
that.
that's I like Randy Moss. There's just such a weird gap in his production. So
The
it's
Raider years.
yeah, Raider years and then, but I mean, you don't get much better than Randy Moss, right? So I think that's a phenomenal pick,
I
obviously.
think it's such a great pick that he was also my pick, and since he was also my pick, that means we get stats. So let's go ahead and give you guys some stats. Wide receiver Randy Moss from 1998 to 2009. If you don't count the 2 years when in the middle where he was a Raider, because let's face it,
Oh my
that shouldn't be
gosh.
held against anybody. So if you look at that massive stretch of years, he averaged 82 yards per game receiving and nearly 14 TDs a season. Oh, and by the way, across those 10 seasons, he only missed 3 games. That's right. This is a guy you could always count on to be there. A lot of these other guys we've talked about, like they've had injuries, they missed some time. Not Randy Moss. He only missed 3 games in a 10-year stretch. That is insane consistency, and he put up massive numbers while being that consistent. And I mentioned, guys who forget how good they were. Did you guys realize that Randy Moss and Adrian Peterson played on the same team for 3 years, and the Vikings still never won a Super Bowl? We're talking about a guy who is arguably the best wide receiver of all time, a guy who's arguably the best running back of all time, on the same team for 3 years in their primes, and they couldn't win. Man, the Vikings suck.
Wait, what team were they on together?
The Minnesota Vikings.
What three? I'm confused. For Adrian Peterson?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I don't think I knew that.
yeah. So,
Well, I think that's obviously a phenomenal pick, but I did not go the Randy Moss route. I am going to start off with somebody who I am still a little bit bitter about from, I believe, year two of our fantasy football league. And I'm going to say Marvin Harrison Sr. As
ooh,
my wide receiver one from a fantasy perspective. Obviously, not as gaudy on the touchdowns as Randy on his 23 touchdown year. But if you look at kind of like Marvin Harrison's prime, you might as well just pencil him in for somewhere around 1,500 yards and anywhere between 12 to 15 or 16 touchdowns. Like just an absolute animal, Mr. Consistent. Like if he's your wide receiver one, you're like, yeah, that's I want this guy. Um, it's kind of like that like low risk player that just was so consistently good for so many years. So yeah, Marvin Harrison. You weren't mad if you had him, trust me, and I know you know Mitch.
Yeah, I had him.
whereas if you had Marvin Harrison Jr., you're furious.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. Uh, all right, let's go to wide receiver two. Who wants to go first for wide receiver two?
Well, I went first last time, but I don't mind going again. For
Go
for
for it.
me, oh, for me, I got that's what Alex clarified earlier. It's like you don't want to just pick Michael Thomas or something like that because of one season, right?
Right.
Which was
This is a
crazy
guy
good.
that
So
the whole thing
yeah,
is like if you
so
were to pick him during the prime of their career, you feel like there's a chance he'll be the wide receiver one that season.
yeah, so okay, all right. You're gonna hate me. I'm not trying to name a bunch of names, but I
No,
struggled
no,
with
don't
this since you
you
texted.
don't get to go first if you're gonna name 7 names. You can either
I'm
name
gonna
one name or you
name
go
one
third.
name with the on. What did Vinny say?
No honorable mention.
or
You
whatever?
you can either name one name or you can go third.
Okay, I'll go third.
Okay, Vinny, you're
Yeah,
up.
I will say my honorable mention was just because like he was kind of a little bit beyond our fantasy playing. Like, right? It was like somebody who while doing research, I was like,
Oh, you
oh,
went with Priest Holmes, but your honorable mention was Falk. I thought it was the other way around. My bad.
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
All right, you two go first then. Because
You want me
mine are
just to
tied.
double
Mine's
dip?
literally
Yeah,
tied.
go ahead, Vin.
I'll double dip. This was really hard for me. You know, even now I'm like debating hard between two players and two players that for
You can't name
years,
two, apparently, Alex. I mean,
years,
Vinny.
no, I'm not going to say it, but for years and years in a row, I was drafting these people in the first round. But because I also think from a fantasy perspective and just an overall turmoil perspective, I'm just kind of in love with the guy. I'm going to go with AB84 Antonio Brown. I'm rolling out Marvin Harrison and Antonio Brown in my wide receiver slot. Um, Pencil me in for 3,000 receiving yards and 30 touchdowns per season. Uh,
Oh,
there's
combined.
other
I'm
people.
guessing you're saying combined.
Yeah, combined,
I was like,
combined.
I'm pretty sure Antonio Brown never had a 3,000 yard season. Vinny.
But just consistently hitting that 1,500 yard. Like their prime was just consistent, right? Like I know you're getting 1,510 and you're just signing up for that all the time. And this is in an era of football that's a little bit different. So maybe you give like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase like a couple more years and you're gonna say that like there's your goats and I would have no problem with that. But for the purpose of this, I'm going Antonio Brown.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean Antonio Brown before he went crazy, he was pretty darn good at football. So yeah, I guess I'll move on to my wide receiver two then. Before Mitch gives us the next 17 names off of his list, and mine is going to be a man who needs just one name, and that is Megatron,
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson. Well, for starters, this guy's prime of his career was his whole career because he did retire early. So after his rookie year, because everyone needs a warm-up season, so after his rookie year, 2008, 2015, he averaged over 90 yards and 10 TDs per season. Over 90 yards and 10 TDs. That you're talking about on his worst day getting you 9 fantasy points. Like that's the ultimate set it and forget it player, and he did it so consistently because it was every single year. He never missed more than a couple of games a season, so he was relatively there the whole time. I mean, this is a guy that you could just count on it week in and week out to go and play big. And the fact that he was on a horrific Lions team makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, that was when I said two players that I routinely drafted in the first round. That was my other guy.
This pick was more for consistency as well. Like I like this is a guy that I know is going to go out there and get me like has a high floor. This is more of a high floor than a high upside player, but I think when you're making a run at a championship, you need some high floor guys, and this was a high floor guy.
Also,
Yeah.
how do you have 122 receptions, 2,000 yards receiving, and 5 TDs? What the heck?
That's how
What
bad the
hell?
Lions were.
Yeah,
He had that Julio Jones booster right there, the 2,000 yards receiving and like 3 touchdowns.
the next year when he had the 1,500 and the 12 TDs, I think I paid $81 in one of my auction leagues for him. I was just like, yep, keep bidding. I'm gonna get Calvin Johnson. So that was. Oh, sorry, Alex, are you done?
Yeah, no, good.
That was my honorable mention.
Which is why I stopped
and
you because I knew you were going to do something like that, try to steal people's
that's why
things.
decided to go third. And the answer is who I consider to be the greatest wide receiver ever, non-fantasy or fantasy, and it's Terrell Owens. That's
I
who
knew you were gonna say it. I knew you were gonna do it.
Whoa.
The only reason I was debating is because it's kind of
Former
undeniable.
offender.
Former offender. Yeah, he doesn't have as gaudy as like a Calvin. He does have some 14 and 13s in there, but this guy to me is the greatest wide receiver. I didn't get to see Jerry Rice play except for an older version, and I think he was on the Raiders at that point
Yep.
by the time we were in middle school. So I don't, if you want to say Jerry, obviously that's the correct answer. But for me personally, you know what I mean? I never got to see Jordan play, so for me it's Kobe, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's Terrell Owens. He's the greatest wide receiver to ever play football. There was a time period from I think 96 or 8 or whatever when we first started watching really hardcore all the way to probably 2006 or 5 where only 3 wide receivers ran over the middle of the field. No other wide receiver in the NFL went over the middle of the field. Like try and explain that to someone, in their teens now or in high school now watching football that
Well,
like,
that's because
hey,
now
only
DBs get flagged if they breathe on a wide receiver, whereas back in the day you could light them up if they went across the middle.
all the spearing and the hit on a defenseless receiver, none of that stuff was around during this era. So it was, I think, Anquan Bolden, the guy from the Steelers. What was his name? Um, the famous guy. What was his name? Ward, Heinz Ward. It was like Anquan Bolden, Heinz Ward, and Terrell Owens. Those were the only 3 receivers that went over the middle for about 5 to 7 years of my childhood to about high school watching football. And one of them was T.O. And he had one of the most memorable games I've ever had. I think I was watching it at the Sparks' house. He goes over the middle. He hadn't caught a ball all game for Steve Young. They're playing the Packers in the playoffs, Brett Favre. Hadn't caught anything all game. Goes over the middle of the field, catches the ball in the end zone, gets absolutely decapitated, and they win the game in the playoffs. Ever since that day, I was like, that's my guy. So not only that, I've loved him from the beginning, and he's the man. I mean, he's maybe not be the man because he's definitely a former offender, but
I
when
like
it
how his
comes to
picture on ESPN is wearing a Bengals jersey because that's the last team he played for, even
yeah,
though
I
it's
did
not
not
what he's
know
going to go
that
down
either.
as.
I didn't even know he played for Buffalo. I knew he played for Dallas because he went out and did the Dallas Star thing, and then in the
Yeah.
middle of the field and got beat up or whatever. But yeah, if you would have told me this guy ended his career as a Bengal and a Bill, I would have never guessed Terrell Owens in a million years. But yeah,
All
this
right,
guy was
let's
one like I said with the LT. I'm very biased. This guy and LT were 2 of my favorite players to watch, so I'm gonna be very biased.
all right, and then moving on to the last position here, and that is tight end. Who is your prime time tight end? Prime team tight end. Who's it going to be? We'll go with you first, I guess, Vin. Who's your prime tight end?
This surprisingly was the hardest one for me.
For sure.
I think there's a very obvious answer, and I'm not going to choose it. So I'm kind of hoping, not obvious, but I'm kind of breaking the mold on the consistency. I'm going to go with somebody who I never got to own in fantasy football because it was before I started drafting tight ends early. But to me, and I know that there's other names that you guys might mention that will say, oh, they're the greatest of all time. If there is one tight end who, as a Raider fan, you hated seeing, and from a fantasy perspective, the dude was like revolutionized the tight end perspective, like position from just a touchdown standpoint and catches. I'm gonna go Antonio Gates, and I know statistically he might not be the GOAT, but this is a little bit of that nostalgia breaking in. Like before Antonio Gates, there was only one other player, and Antonio Gates like reset the tight end market, in my opinion. 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns just consistently. Um, so yeah, and I know like again, I know there's other people that statistically are better, but this is that he had dude just long-term production. So his prime was like 10 years.
Very cool,
Yeah,
very cool.
shoot.
Yeah, I mean Antonio Gates was an absolute baller. He was a guy that every year you were happy to take him because he was putting up stats at a time where this was kind of before you have like the big gaudy tight ends that you kind of do now. Like he's the one that first broke the mold, like you said, Vin. And the fact that he didn't play college football is just wild to me. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like this is
crazy.
the opposite trend as the running back. The running backs back then were a little bit greater, and the tight ends back then were a little bit lesser. That makes sense. I said that backwards, maybe, but
yeah, for sure. Mitch, are you ready to give one tight end, or should I go first?
I'm debating whether or not to steal yours or not, or give my answer. That's what I've been debating for the last
You
30
should.
seconds in my head.
I don't know that you know who mine is, but you do you, man.
Oh, I know who yours is. I know who yours is, but I'll give my answer, and then I'm allowed to guess yours before you go. I'm
Okay,
just kidding.
fine. Yeah,
My,
that's fair. That's fair.
okay, my answer is Rob Gronkowski because I think as far as Vinny was saying, Gates is probably the originator, but as far as getting credit for becoming what is the fantasy tight end that is now, like Gates was so far ahead of his time. that you're probably right, but he is the originator. But I think Gronk should get most of the credit. It might have even been the other tight end who was the Aaron Hernandez, former offender for sure there. But yeah, I think as far as tight end goes, I think he's what we see now from the early part of that 2012. Oh, there you go. It's on the stage. Yeah, 2000, yeah, 12 or even 11, all the way through that era to 2017. I think he is the most consistent. He definitely didn't. I mean, he definitely missed games and everything, but the weeks he played, I would have no problem. And I bet you there's not a tight end that you could put unless you pick like Jimmy Graham this one year or whatever. Statistically, my tight end's going to probably beat your tight end statistically with Rob Gronkowski there.
Yeah, I agree, Mitch. He was actually my original pick, and then I switched it up just a little bit just because of Gronk, because of those injuries. Like you didn't know if you were ever getting a full season out of Gronk, but
That's
like when
true.
you
Yeah.
had him and he was healthy, you were like, I'm winning my matchup just because I have Gronk.
For sure. It was never even like a debate. And
Yeah,
also,
no.
again, I'm a little biased. Very entertaining to watch this guy play. Just go down, dude. It's like, please, you don't need to get that extra yard or two. But he never, it was just like, bro, just go down and save it. Nope. Big Gronk smash. He was so entertaining throughout his career. Um, I know Miles fanboyed because of the Arizona stuff, but it's hard not to fanboy over Gronk.
I mean,
Can I guess
you
your
literally
who your
you
pick
couldn't
is?
tackle him. I
Yeah.
remember that. You just could not tackle this guy. Yeah, go ahead and make a guess, Mitch.
The Falcons guy, Tony Gonzalez.
I like how you call
The
him
Falcons
Falcons
guy.
guy.
The
Wow.
Falcons
Okay,
guy.
first
Wow.
first of all,
It's on the tip of my head. It's on the tip of my head. I almost lost it.
he was a
That's why
Chief
I said
for
that.
a long time before he was a Falcon.
Chiefs guy.
Yeah, yeah. I meant to say the ended as a Falcon guy, Chief guy, because you and I had him in our original championship team or whatever that we co-managed in 2004 or three or whatever. So
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez all time
is that
great,
right?
the goat. No, it's not right. I'm going to explain why.
Dang it!
I think he is
Dang
the
it.
greatest tight end of
Wow.
all time, but I don't think he's the greatest fantasy tight end of all time. Like if you
For
needed a
sure.
guy who you knew was going to be consistent, yeah, you're taking Tony Gonzalez every year. He is going to be a top 5 fantasy tight end. Set it and forget it. And I love consistency. That's why I love taking him. Also, the reason I took him so many times is so many people were trying to find those home run balls and drafting the guys that they were hoping would be the next Gronk, who eventually flamed out, that I was able to be like
For sure.
the 10th or 11th guy to take a tight end and get Tony
100%.
Gonzalez. So that's why I
Yeah,
liked
that's
him
really
so
fun.
much. But no, I also went with Gronk, and I'll give you some stats as to why here in a second. So the reason that I went with Gronkowski, yeah, he does get hurt sometime, but from 2011 to 2015, he averaged nearly 80 yards a game receiving and 11 touchdowns per season. And he missed 16 games across that time span, so that does hurt you. But when you consider he averaged 11 TDs per season and missed 16 games, what that tells you is his average points per game was even higher. So, yeah, there are going to be games where you don't have him, and that sucks. But games where you do, he was going to be an absolute monster. So that's why I took Gronk in this spot. I'm surprised no one took Kelsey, to be honest. I guess because that's a recency bias that he's not doing well right
For
now,
sure.
so people didn't take him. But yeah, that's why I took Gronk, because this was a play to win. I had consistency at every other position, so I went with upside at tight end. Is kind of how I felt.
Well, if
Yeah,
we're allowed
I will
honorable
say,
mentions, or however Alex said it, surprise someone else didn't say it. I should have worded it that way. I was deciding between Kelsey
Well, I
and
said
Gronk
that
for
after
sure.
everyone had already given their pick, right? Like everyone
I'm
has already made
kidding.
their pick, and now I'm saying I'm surprised that no one took Travis
And I'm agreeing with
Kelsey.
you.
I think
I'm
that is
agreeing
I
with
think
you,
that is
Alex.
very
so,
different than, hey, I know
yeah.
everyone hasn't given their stats yet, but I'm going to guess 17 guys to ruin them for everybody else.
No, that was the one where I said there's a very obvious answer, and when you look at Kelsey's
Yeah,
stats, you're like,
Kelsey is
dude,
just.
you're getting 1,200 yards and almost 10
We all
touchdowns
just
every year.
disrespected
Yeah,
Kelsey right
Um,
here. Let's be honest.
for
yeah,
sure.
no, and the one reason I couldn't say that Antonio Gates for sure revolutionized the tight end position from a fantasy aspect was because of Tony Gonzalez. So I think all picks and guesses were right. Like if you don't have those four, I question.
Well,
Like
who are
if
you
those
taking?
four aren't your top four, then and like unless you want to go super historical, then I question your decision making. Because yeah, it's obvious
Jason
to me.
Witten? I was just kidding. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, t catches and yards, right? But like from
Uh,
fantasy production, it's for sure Kelsey. But Kelsey is also the byproduct of all those guys we just mentioned. Kelsey is the byproduct of Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez and Rob Gronkowski.
Gronk, for
Teams
sure. Yeah.
realize that the tight end can revolutionize the offense. Dude, look at what so many teams are doing now. They're trying to find that Kelsey, the Dalton Kincaids, the Tyler Warrens, the Brock. Like we did not see that getting drafted until people saw like the Gronks of the world and then the
for
Kelseys of the
sure.
world kind of transitioning into that. So
And there were
modern
so
tight
many.
ends are
Alex said it
thriving
best.
because of
There were so many forced wannabe Gronks right away because it was like, oh my God, the Patriots have these two tight ends or this one tight end Gronk. And it's like everyone tried to force themselves in getting to the next Gronk, and for the next 3 or 4 years, so many of them just completely flopped. And it was like, well, Tony Gonzalez is the third overall good tight
Yep.
end again.
Yeah. So many years they're like, well, because like people fall off a cliff. Like look at Kelsey. Like he was so good for so long, and then he's kind of fallen off a cliff the last couple of seasons. This season particularly, and everyone kind of thought that's what was going to happen to Tony Gonzalez, right? Like, oh, he's gonna fall off that cliff, guys. He's gonna fall off that cliff, but he just kept doing it. Even his last year before he retired, 859 yards and 8 TDs. Like that's unreal. Like this is a guy who every single year, like, nope, amazing, 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 amazing. It's like his worst season ever was like 650 yards and 6 TDs. I'm pretty sure half the teams in the league, if I told you right now, hey, do you want a tight end? I'll get you 650 and six. They'd sign up right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and this isn't counting PPR, by the way. He was even better in PPR. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
yeah. What was the name of the tight end that you traded for, Alex? That got hurt like
Owen
immediately.
Oh my
Daniels.
God,
Like,
Owens. I don't even remember his first name anymore.
Owen,
It
Owen
starts with
Daniels.
D.
Owen Daniel.
Owen Daniels. F that guy.
That's
It was
right.
Thomas
That's right.
Jones for Owen Daniels.
It was
You
the
gave
RB. It was the
Chris.
RB5 for the tight end one. And for people thinking, oh, that's crazy trade, you have to also keep in mind I
It
also had
is.
RB1 and RB3 on my team. That's how stacked my team was at running back. You can't start with three running backs. We don't play a flex. So I was like, hey, I'm going to trade away the RB5 to pick up the tight end one. As soon as I make the trade, the tight end one blows out his ACL. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, that's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We did go a little bit long, but we had a lot of cool stuff to cover. Oh, I guess real quick, we'll look at our team. We lost again, boys. 3-point. It was close, but Danny, we're just hurting the QB department. We lost Burrow. Danny Dimes has just been mid. Keenan Allen had his worst game. Juwan Johnson didn't play great. And the Green Bay Packers D lost it for us by letting Dallas go
Yikes.
all over them, getting -3. And what's that? We lost by exactly 3 points. So I blame
Oh
Green Bay's D.
no, is that really what happened? That's
Yeah.
terrible. Show our
Oh, dude,
bench.
I literally lost. I lost another league because the Packers D had negative points, and I lost by less than the margin of the
Also,
Packers
are we
D.
starting Henry over Dwan, right?
I was about to ask you
And
guys. So this week, do we want to start? I mean, well, see, here's the thing. Juwan Johnson played against Buffalo, which is the best team against tight ends. Do we want to
oh,
put in
gotcha.
Hunter
No, no,
Henry
we're
playing
fine.
against Buffalo? I
No,
mean,
we're fine
Johnson
then.
is
No, let's
hurt.
ride Juwan.
Yeah.
Still go
We'll
Juwan.
ride
Other than
Dwan.
that, I think everything else stays the same, right? We picked up Romeo Dobbs off waivers this week. Finally, I finally talked Vinny into letting me cut Calvin Ridley. Good lord, that guy sucks.
Who was our
Um,
other running back?
Saquon, Devon Achane, and Travis Etienne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got
I
some
mean,
good running backs.
this team is just a byproduct of Joe Burrow.
Oh, and I picked
At
up
this
the
point.
Seahawks D. Not they don't have the best matchup, but they are like the best defense in football as far as fantasy goes. So figured we'd give them a chance because Green Bay's on a bye. So
Yeah, their schedule's
Yeah,
interesting though. I was watching Seattle. I had them on my radar, but their schedule's been very interesting. It's been like a lot of bottom teams, and Pittsburgh
no, it
only
has.
jumped to the 20, only been to the 21st, and Arizona was in the green, and so was Pittsburgh when they played them. So
It
I know it's
has,
evened out a
but
little bit.
Jacksonville's a bad football team. Tampa Bay's dealing with a ton of injuries.
Oh,
Houston's
for
a bad
sure, they might
football
have a good
team. So
schedule. Yeah, I was just saying I don't know what to believe. That was a defense I was monitoring that I didn't know what to believe. That's all I'm trying to say.
yeah, no, I agree. But we had to pick up someone on a bye. Vinny
Oh, for
wanted the
sure.
Cardinals, but Go Ducks beat us to them. So I got the Seahawks.
Wait, can you go to standings real quick before we log off?
Do you really want to see them? All
Yes,
right.
I want to see the league standings.
It's not looking great for us, boys. Not looking great for us. We're
No, it's not. No, it's not. What happened? It's just our QB?
yeah. I mean, we had the highest rated team.
yeah.
Well, I mean, two things. One, Saquon Barkley's been bad.
Yeah.
Our QB is non-existent, and because our QB is non-existent, T Higgins has been bad. You guys talked me into drafting Hawkinson, who was so terrible we dropped him. So
But it's like
yeah,
if you told me this was my team going forward, I'd be like, this team's not going to lose much going forward. But maybe I'm just biased. That's a
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
feel
team.
the same way. Like I look at the team, and you're like, oh, don't trust us. I would redraft that team again.
I
If
feel like I
Burrow,
would too.
it's not like
Minus
we
Higgins.
have the best wide receiver in fantasy and Amon Ra. I mean, minus Puka. You still have Saquon. You still have Achan. You have the sleeper RB and ETN. Like, what did we do wrong? We did nothing wrong. Burrow got hurt and we lost Higgins. Like,
Do we want to keep
Yeah,
rolling
we
with
could.
Danny
Lance
Dimes, or
is
do we
so
want to
good.
pick up Matthew Stafford?
We could pick up either Stafford or Love for.
Well, Love's on a bye, so I'm not picking up Love.
Well, yeah, we could pick up either one for security. I'm saying.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
just
think
saying,
we're benching.
Stafford has
We're not.
more yards and more TDs, right? Like passing, and all of Danny Dimes rushing, came in the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, Danny Dimes has come back to earth a little bit, but he has a good matchup this week. So maybe we get one more week on Danny Dimes.
Yeah, give him one more
Uh,
week.
Yeah, and also I don't know if they're gonna stop using him as much for Stafford. They could eventually start handing the ball off. I didn't. They. I just. It's so shocking. Bad back. Bad back. Oh my gosh. Stay away from the Rams. But and he just comes out. And he's just throwing the ball nonstop. So I don't know. That's tough.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap the pod here, boys?
No,
Mm,
no. We're not that bad at fantasy. I promise.
yeah.
Well, I mean, my team's 3-1 in DoD. In the league of record, the league that matters most, I'm 3-1. What are your guys' records again? Vinny, what's your record?
I'm literally 1-3 with some of the worst points for, and probably, I will say this unabashedly, have the best roster. If you look at the amount of position number ones, I just cannot start them to save my life. So
And Mitch, you're what, two
Yeah.
and two?
Probably. You know what's very unfortunate is yeah, I'm 2-2. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. All right. Well, hopefully when we're back to you guys next week, we have more than one guy with a winning record in fantasy football, and our podcast league team isn't a complete trash can fire. We'll see you all next time. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this super long episode. Peace out, everybody.
peace.
Yeah.